Delphine Washington knew three things for certain on the morning she changed everything. Rich people's houses always smelled like lemon polish and loneliness. Marble floors held more secrets than confessionals, and sometimes the help saw more than the family ever would. 23 years she'd walked through those grand doors of the Whitmore estate. 23 years of watching a family bleed out in slow motion, while the rest of Greenwich, Connecticut toasted their success at charity galas. The irony never escaped her. She cleaned their messes, literal and otherwise, while they pretended everything gleamed as bright as their reputation. But that Tuesday in March, when she'd find young Simone slumped over the kitchen island with an empty pill bottle, Delphine would finally understand why God had kept her in that house for over 2 decades. Some people are placed exactly where they need to be, even when it feels like punishment. The estate sat on 12 acres of manufactured paradise, every hedge trimmed to mathematical precision, every flower bed coordinated by seasons and color theory. The kind of place that made visitors pull out their phones for pictures before they even rang the doorbell. Delphine had watched 3 landscape crews get fired for leaving a single leaf on the driveway. Inside was worse. 42 rooms, most of them never used. A kitchen bigger than the apartment Delphine had raised her own daughter in. Bathrooms with fixtures that cost more than a year of her salary. Vincent Whitmore had built his pharmaceutical empire from his grandfather's modest pill factory, turning it into a machine that generated roughly $4 million a day. The man could buy anything except what his family actually needed. Delphine arrived every morning at 6, let herself in through the service entrance, because God forbid the help use the front door, and started her rounds. She'd learned the rhythm of their dysfunction like a song she never asked to memorize. Here's what nobody tells you about being domestic staff for the wealthy. You become furniture. Breathing, moving furniture that they discuss their lives around as if you've got no ears, no heart, no opinion worth considering. Delphine had stood 3 feet away when Cordelia Whitmore told her sister over wine that she couldn't remember the last time Vincent touched her. She'd been folding laundry in the corner when Marcus confessed to his college roommate over speakerphone that he'd wrecked his 3rd car drunk, and Daddy's lawyers would make it disappear. She'd been watering plants when Simone screamed at her mother that she wished she'd never been born into this perfect plastic prison. They never looked at her during these moments. Never wondered if Delphine had feelings about watching them destroy themselves with money and neglect. 23 years of being a ghost in their story. But ghosts see everything. They remember everything. And sometimes, when the moment demands it, ghosts can reach out and shake the living awake. Vincent Whitmore was 53 years old, silver-haired, 6'2", and completely absent from his own life. Oh, he was there physically. Delphine would pass him most mornings in the hallway, Bluetooth earpiece already attached, barking orders to someone in Singapore, or Sweden, or San Francisco. He'd nod at her, his version of acknowledgement, before disappearing into his home office for 16-hour stretches. The man had dinner with his family maybe twice a month, and even then, his phone sat next to his plate like a third hand, buzzing with emergencies that always seemed more important than the daughter who'd stopped eating or the son who showed up drunk to Sunday brunch. Delphine had worked in enough wealthy homes to recognize the type. Men who measured their worth in zeros on a balance sheet. Men who genuinely believed providing material comfort equaled love. Men who'd wake up one day to find their children were strangers and their wives had checked out years ago. Vincent kept a framed photo on his desk. The family at Martha's Vineyard, maybe 8 years back. Everyone smiling, sun-kissed together. He'd glance at it sometimes between calls. He never seemed to notice it was the last time they looked happy. Delphine remembered the first time she met Cordelia Whitmore, back when the woman still had light in her eyes. It was 2015. Delphine had just started working at the estate, nervous about getting everything perfect for these billionaire people. She'd been scrubbing the kitchen counters when Cordelia walked in, barefoot, wearing jeans and an old Yale sweatshirt, hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. "You must be Delphine. I'm Cordelia. Please don't call me Mrs. Whitmore. It makes me feel like my mother-in-law." She'd laughed, poured 2 cups of coffee without asking, and sat right down at the kitchen table like they were old friends. They'd talked for an hour that morning. Cordelia asked about Delphine's daughter, remembered her name was Teresa, asked what she wanted to study in college. She'd offered to write a recommendation letter without being asked. Genuine kindness, not the performative charity type that rich people usually dish out. That Cordelia had baked cookies with Marcus after school. That Cordelia had helped Simone with science projects at the dining room table. That Cordelia had kissed her husband goodbye in the mornings and meant it. That woman was gone now, deleted, replaced by something hollow wearing designer clothes. Present day, Cordelia didn't wake up. She emerged around 10:30, sometimes 11, depending on how many Ambiens she'd taken the night before. Delphine knew the routine by heart now. She'd hear the bedroom door open upstairs, then the soft padding of feet to the master bathroom, water running, the medicine cabinet clicking open. Cordelia kept her pills in a crystal container that probably cost more than Delphine's car. Xanax for anxiety, Adderall to function, sometimes Valium if the Xanax wasn't cutting it. By 11, Cordelia would drift downstairs in athleisure wear that cost $800 per outfit. She'd pick at some fruit, drink black coffee, scroll through her phone looking at other women's Instagram perfect lives. Noon brought the first glass of wine. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, she'd joke to nobody in particular, because Delphine didn't count as somebody to explain yourself to. Then came the real activity, shopping, online mostly. Packages arrived daily, clothes with tags still attached, jewelry she'd never wear, furniture for rooms she'd never sit in. Cordelia would open them like Christmas morning, get a brief hit of something close to happiness, then lose interest within hours. The high never lasted. It never does when you're medicating a wound instead of healing it. Delphine pinpointed the exact moment she knew Cordelia was drowning. It was a Thursday afternoon, maybe 6 months before Simone's crisis. Delphine had walked into the sitting room to vacuum and found Cordelia on the floor, surrounded by photo albums from the early years of her marriage. Mascara streaked down her face, an empty wine bottle on its side. "I don't know where I went," Cordelia whispered, not really talking to Delphine, just talking into the void. "I look at these pictures and I don't recognize her. When did I stop being her?" Delphine had frozen, vacuum in hand, watching this broken woman stare at photographs of her former self like they were evidence of a murder. Because that's what it was, really. The slow killing of who Cordelia used to be, replaced by who Greenwich society expected her to become. For a second, Delphine thought about sitting down beside her, putting an arm around her, saying the things that needed saying. You need help, real help. Not pills, not wine, not shopping. You're disappearing and nobody's noticing because you're doing it in Gucci. But she didn't. The invisible boundary between employer and employee held her back. She'd regret that silence later. The Whitmores had perfected the art of being married while living completely separate lives. Vincent came home around 9 most nights. Cordelia would be in the media room, 3rd or 4th glass of wine in, watching reality shows about other people's drama. He'd grab something from the fridge, usually leftovers Delphine had plated, and take it to his office. They'd pass each other in hallways like roommates who'd stopped being friends. Once a month, maybe twice, they'd have what Delphine called their performance dinners. Usually when they had guests coming or some business associate Vincent needed to impress. They'd sit across from each other at that massive dining table, making small talk that sounded like a script written by strangers. "How was your day?" "Fine, productive. Yours?" "Busy. The usual." Then silence. Just the sound of forks on expensive china and Delphine's footsteps bringing out courses nobody really tasted. The saddest part? Neither of them seemed to notice how far apart they drifted. Or maybe they noticed and just didn't care anymore. Sometimes indifference is crueler than hate. At least hate means you still feel something. Marcus Whitmore had his father's smile and his mother's talent for running away from reality. 21 years old, Yale dropout, trust fund baby who treated life like an extended spring break. Delphine would find him stumbling in at 4 in the morning, reeking of whiskey and expensive cologne, sometimes with friends who'd raid the liquor cabinet like they owned the place. The kid had everything: looks, money, charm that could sell sand in a desert. Girls hung on his arm at those clubs in Manhattan. His Instagram showed a highlight reel of bottle service, exotic cars, yachts he didn't own but pretended he did. But Delphine saw what the camera didn't catch. She'd found him once at 2 in the afternoon, passed out on the bathroom floor, vomit in his hair, She'd cleaned him up, got him to bed, never told his parents because what would be the point? They wouldn't have noticed anyway. Marcus was drowning in privilege, using parties and substances to fill a hole shaped exactly like parental attention. Every reckless decision was a scream into the void. Does anybody care what happens to me? The void never answered back. 17-year-old Simone was the family's invisible achiever. Straight A's, honor society, college applications that would make any parent proud, if her parents actually looked at them. She was thin, too thin, the kind of thin that comes from control issues, not genetics. Delphine watched her push food around plates during the rare family dinners, eating just enough to avoid questions nobody asked anyway. The girl wore long sleeves even in summer. Delphine had noticed 6 months ago, fresh cuts on Simone's forearms when her sleeve rode up, reaching for a glass. Simone caught her looking, yanked the fabric down, eyes daring Delphine to say something. Delphine should have said something, but who would she tell? Vincent, who was probably in Tokyo. Cordelia, who was 3 pills deep by noon. Marcus, who couldn't take care of himself. So Simone suffered in silence, carving her pain into her own skin, because that was the only thing she could control in a house where nobody controlled anything that mattered. Her straight A's were a desperate bid for attention. Her self-harm was what happened when that attention never came. February 14th, Valentine's Day. Vincent was actually home. Cordelia had organized a family dinner, probably inspired by some Instagram post about connection. Delphine served the meal she'd spent 3 hours preparing: herb-crusted lamb, roasted vegetables, a chocolate torte for dessert. She moved between kitchen and dining room, watching a masterclass in dysfunction. Vincent answered emails between bites, his phone face up on the table, buzzing every 30 seconds. Cordelia drank wine, lots of it, making comments about Marcus needing to get serious about his future. Marcus scrolled through his phone, liking photos of parties he'd rather be at. Simone picked at her lamb, moving it around to create the illusion of eating, her sleeves pulled down to her knuckles. "This is nice," Cordelia slurred slightly. "We should do this more often." Nobody agreed. Nobody disagreed. Nobody said anything real. They were 4 people occupying the same space, breathing the same air, sharing the same last name, and they were more alone than if they'd been on separate continents. Delphine's heart cracked watching them. That night, clearing the table, Delphine found Simone's phone left behind. The screen lit up with a notification from some app she didn't recognize. "You're worthless. You know that, right? Even your family doesn't care if you exist." The message was from someone named Truth Teller Tyne. Delphine's blood ran cold. She scrolled up, months of messages. Someone online telling this girl she was garbage, that she should hurt herself, that nobody would miss her if she disappeared. And Simone had been responding, believing it, absorbing poison from a stranger because she wasn't getting anything else from the people who were supposed to love her. Delphine put the phone back exactly where she found it, but something shifted in her chest that night. A decision forming, still shapeless but growing solid. If this family was going to destroy itself, it wouldn't be because she stayed silent. Sometimes love looks like disruption. Sometimes it looks like a slap across the face. Tuesday, March 12th. 6:00 a.m. Delphine turned her key in the service entrance lock like she had thousands of times before. But something felt wrong immediately. The kind of wrong that lives in your gut before your brain catches up. The house was too quiet, not regular quiet, not sleeping family quiet. This was the heavy, suffocating silence that comes right before bad news gets delivered. The air felt thick, like breathing through wet cotton. Delphine set down her purse and lunch bag in the mudroom, her hands already shaking, though she didn't know why yet. 23 years of working in this house had given her instincts about the Whitmores. She could feel their moods in the walls, sense their chaos before she saw it. She walked through the service hallway toward the kitchen, her shoes squeaking on the marble floor. Each step echoed too loud in that awful silence. The kitchen light was on. That was wrong too. Nobody in this family woke up before 9 except Vincent, and he was supposed to be in Singapore for some pharmaceutical conference. Delphine pushed open the kitchen door and found Simone slumped over the island, completely still. "Simone?" The girl didn't move. She was face down on the cold marble countertop, one arm hanging limp at her side, the other stretched out like she'd been reaching for something before she collapsed. Delphine's nursing training from 30 years ago kicked in before her panic could. She'd worked as a home health aide before domestic work, knew CPR, knew what unconscious looked like versus what dead looked like. She rushed to Simone's side, pressed 2 fingers to her neck searching for a pulse. There, faint, but there. Breathing shallow, skin cold and clammy. That's when Delphine saw the pill bottle. Empty amber prescription bottle on its side, little white pills scattered across the counter like fallen snow. The label read, Ambien, Cordelia Whitmore, take one at bedtime. Delphine's heart stopped. She grabbed Simone's face, tilted it up. The girl's lips had a bluish tint. Her pupils were pinpoints. Mascara streaked down her cheeks like she'd been crying before she swallowed her mother's sleeping pills. "Simone, baby, can you hear me? Simone!" A small moan, not quite conscious, but not completely gone either. Delphine grabbed her phone with shaking hands and dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? I need an ambulance right now. 17-year-old girl, drug overdose, she's barely breathing. Delphine's voice came out steady even though her insides were screaming. Training. You fall back on training when everything else falls apart. What's your location? 1847 Meadowbrook Lane, Greenwich. The Whitmore estate. Hurry, please. What did she take? Ambien. Her mother's prescription. I don't know how many. The bottle's empty, but I don't know how full it was. Is she conscious? Barely. She's making sounds, but her eyes won't open. I need you to check if she's breathing normally. Delphine put her ear close to Simone's mouth. Shallow breaths, too slow, irregular. Her breathing's not right. It's too slow. Don't let her fall asleep. Keep talking to her. Ambulance is 3 minutes out. 3 minutes felt like 3 hours. Delphine cradled Simone's head, patting her cheeks gently. Stay with me, baby. Come on now, stay with me. Help is coming. You're going to be okay. She said it like a prayer, like saying it enough times would make it true. Simone's eyes fluttered but didn't open. Another weak moan. That's it, that's good. Keep making noise. Stay awake. While waiting for the ambulance, Delphine's mind raced through logistics that would matter later. She grabbed her phone and took photos of the pill bottle, the scattered pills on the counter, Simone's position, evidence of what happened because she knew how rich people operated. They'd want to control the story, hide the truth, make problems disappear with money and lawyers. Not this time. She texted Cordelia. Emergency. Simone in hospital. Come now. She tried Vincent's cell, straight to voicemail, probably still on the plane or in meetings where a daughter's life ranks below quarterly earnings. She left a message. Mr. Whitmore, it's Delphine. Simone overdosed on sleeping pills. I found her unconscious. We're heading to Greenwich Hospital. You need to come home immediately. Her voice cracked on that last word. Immediately. Like it should have been obvious that a father should be reachable when his child is dying. Sirens in the distance getting closer. Delphine squeezed Simone's hand. Hear that, baby? That's help coming. You hold on. You hold on for me. The girl's fingers twitched slightly in response. That tiny movement felt like a miracle. 2 paramedics burst through the front door that Delphine had unlocked for them. A man and a woman, moving with practiced urgency, medical bags already open. What have we got? The female paramedic was already checking Simone's vitals while her partner set up equipment. 17-year-old female, Ambien overdose. Found her about 8 minutes ago. Pulse is weak, breathing is shallow. How many pills? I don't know. The bottle was prescribed to her mother. I don't know how many were in it. The male paramedic pulled out a small flashlight, checked Simone's pupils. Pupils are constricted. Respiratory depression. We need to move fast. Get the Narcan ready. Any other medical conditions we should know about? Delphine hesitated. How much should she say? That this girl had been cutting herself? That she'd been talking to some predator online? That her family was so broken they didn't notice their daughter was planning to die? She's been depressed. I don't think this was an accident. The paramedics exchanged a look that said they'd seen this before. Too many times. Okay, We're taking her in. Greenwich Hospital. You riding with us? Yes. Nobody else was here to go. Just as the paramedics were loading Simone onto the stretcher, a car screeched into the circular driveway. Marcus stumbled out of an Uber, still wearing last night's clothes, reeking of alcohol and cigarettes. What the? He stopped mid-sentence, eyes trying to focus on the ambulance, the stretcher, his sister's limp body being carried out of his house. What's going on? Your sister overdosed, Delphine said flatly. No time for gentle explanations. Marcus's face went white. What? No, that's when? How? I found her this morning. She took your mother's sleeping pills. Is she? He couldn't finish the sentence. Couldn't say the word dead out loud because saying it might make it real. She's alive, barely. We're going to the hospital now. Marcus tried to walk toward the ambulance but stumbled, his coordination shot from whatever he'd been drinking or smoking all night. The male paramedic held up a hand. Sir, you can't ride with us. You'll need to drive yourself or get a ride. That's my sister. And you're intoxicated. Hospital's 5 minutes away. Meet us there. The ambulance doors slammed shut. Sirens blared. They were gone. Delphine sat in the back of the ambulance, holding Simone's hand while the female paramedic worked. IV line inserted. Oxygen mask over her face. Monitors beeping with numbers that Delphine hoped meant life, not death. Simone, if you can hear me, squeeze my hand. Nothing. Come on, baby. Fight. You got to fight. The paramedic glanced at Delphine. Are you her grandmother? No, I work for the family. I've known her since she was 7 years old. Where are her parents? Mother's at home, probably still sleeping off last night's wine. Father's in Singapore on business. The paramedic's expression darkened. She didn't say what she was thinking, but Delphine could read it on her face. What kind of parents aren't here? She's lucky you found her when you did, the paramedic said quietly. Another hour and we'd be having a very different conversation. That sentence hit Delphine like a punch. Another hour. Simone had been that close to dying, that close to becoming a statistic, a tragedy, a cautionary tale that her parents would grieve publicly while privately wondering where they went wrong. At the hospital, while doctors rushed Simone into emergency treatment, Delphine tried Vincent's number again, and again, and again. Nothing. Not even voicemail now. The call just wouldn't connect. International phone service issues, or he'd turned it off completely during his meetings. She sent an email to his work account. Urgent. Simone overdosed. Critical condition. Come home now. She texted his assistant. This is Delphine, Washington. Mr. Whitmore's daughter is in the hospital. Life-threatening emergency. Find him. But sitting in that hospital waiting room, watching nurses rush past with grim faces, Delphine felt rage building in her chest. Vincent Whitmore could close a deal from anywhere in the world, could answer emails at midnight about stock prices, could fly halfway across the globe for a potential merger, but his daughter was dying and he was unreachable. That told you everything you needed to know about priorities in the Whitmore family. An hour into waiting, a hospital administrator came out with a plastic bag. Are you with the Whitmore girl? Yes. These are her personal effects. They found them in her pockets. The woman handed over the bag, Simone's phone, a lipstick, and a small leather journal with a lock on it. The lock was broken, must have snapped when the paramedics were working on her. Delphine knew she shouldn't look. This was private. This was Simone's thoughts, her inner world. But something made her open it anyway. The first entry was dated 6 months ago. The handwriting was shaky, desperate. Second time I've tried. Still here, still stuck in this life. Maybe I'm too much of a coward to do it right. Delphine's hand started shaking. She flipped back through the pages, found another entry from 8 months ago. Took mom's pills tonight, 20 of them. Threw up after an hour. Nobody even noticed I was sick. Nobody noticed I wanted to die. I'm invisible even when I'm screaming. This wasn't Simone's first attempt. This was her third. And nobody, not her parents, not her brother, not even Delphine, had noticed the first 2 times. Delphine sat in that plastic hospital chair, reading through months of pain that Simone had written down because she had nobody to say it out loud to. Entry after entry of loneliness, of feeling invisible, of begging her parents to notice her through achievements, through perfection, through anything that might make them look up from their phones and their pills and their problems and see that their daughter was disappearing. Dad didn't come to my awards ceremony today. He was in London. He's always somewhere else. If I died, would he finally come home? Or would he send flowers from overseas? Mom asked me today if I was okay. I said no. She said, "That's nice, honey," and went back to her iPad. She wasn't even listening. I could have said I was planning to kill myself, and she would have said, "That's nice, honey." Marcus is the only one who talks to me, but he's always drunk. Last week he told me he understands why I'm sad. Then he threw up in the fountain and passed out. We're all drowning in this house. Delphine closed the journal, tears streaming down her face. Crisis reveals who truly cares. And the truth was devastating. Nobody had cared enough to notice. 3 hours and 42 minutes. That's how long Delphine sat alone in that hospital waiting room while doctors fought to save Simone's life. 3 hours and 42 minutes of watching the clock, watching the doors, watching nurses rush past with equipment whose purpose she didn't want to imagine. The waiting room smelled like disinfectant in fear. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead, making everything look sickly and pale. A television mounted in the corner played morning news that nobody was watching. Coffee sat cold in a styrofoam cup in Delphine's hand. She'd poured it an hour ago and hadn't taken a single sip. Every time the emergency room doors swung open, her heart jumped. Every time a doctor walked out, she stood up, hoping for news. Any news. Good, bad, anything was better than this suffocating not knowing. But the doctors walked past her. They were looking for family, real family, not the help who found the girl dying in her own kitchen. Delphine sat back down each time, Simone's journal heavy in her lap like evidence at a trial. Where was Cordelia? Delphine checked her phone for the 100th time. The text she'd sent Cordelia 3 hours ago sat there, marked read at 6:47 a.m. Read, but not answered. She sent another. Simone is in critical condition. Where are you? The 3 dots appeared immediately. Cordelia was typing. Then they disappeared. Then appeared again. Then disappeared. Finally, a response. OMG, just saw your message. Getting dressed. Be there soon. Is she okay? What happened? Delphine stared at that message, rage building behind her eyes. Just saw your message? The red receipt showed Cordelia had opened it almost 3 hours ago. And getting dressed? Your daughter is fighting for her life and you're worried about which outfit to wear? She typed back. She overdosed on your sleeping pills. Doctors are working on her now. Hurry. No response this time. Delphine set the phone down before she threw it across the room. She'd worked for wealthy families for decades, seen their priorities up close. But this was something else. This was a level of detachment that felt criminal. Your child is dying and you're getting dressed. Some things money can't buy, like basic human decency. A doctor finally emerged, young woman with tired eyes, still wearing surgical gloves. She looked around the waiting room, then approached Delphine hesitantly. Are you here for Simone Whitmore? Delphine stood up so fast she got dizzy. Yes. How is she? We've stabilized her for now. We pumped her stomach, gave her activated charcoal. She's on IV fluids. She took a significant amount of Ambien, 16 pills. Another hour and... The doctor didn't finish that sentence. She didn't have to. Can I see her? Are you family? That question again. That line that separated people who mattered from people who didn't. I work for the family. I found her. I'm the one who called 911. The doctor's expression softened with something that looked like pity. I can only allow immediate family right now. Parents or siblings. Is anyone else coming? Her mother's on the way. Father's out of the country. Delphine tried to keep the bitterness out of her voice and failed completely. Okay, when Mom gets here, have her check in at the nurse's station. We'll need to talk about next steps. Psychiatric evaluation, safety planning. The doctor started to walk away. Doctor, wait. The woman turned back. The journal I gave the nurses, did you read it? I did. We have to review everything in cases like this. So you know this wasn't her first time. The doctor's face went carefully neutral, the way medical professionals do when they're about to deliver information that will hurt. Yes. According to her entries, she's attempted twice before. Once 8 months ago, once 6 months ago, both times with over-the-counter medications. She vomited both times before the drugs could do serious damage. Her parents didn't know. It wasn't a question, but the doctor answered anyway. According to the journal, nobody knew. She wrote about feeling invisible, about screaming for help and nobody hearing her. Delphine's eyes filled with tears. Is she going to make it? Physically? Yes, I believe so. Mentally? The doctor paused. That depends entirely on what kind of support system she has when she wakes up. And based on what I've read in her journal, I'm honestly not sure what she's waking up to. The doctor walked away, leaving that truth hanging in the air like smoke. Cordelia Whitmore finally swept into the emergency room at 10:23 a.m., 3 hours and 43 minutes after Delphine's text. She was dressed like she was headed to a charity luncheon. Cream-colored pantsuit, perfectly blown-out hair, makeup that probably took 30 minutes to apply. Designer sunglasses pushed up on her head even though it was cloudy outside. The click of her heels on the hospital linoleum announced her arrival before anyone saw her. She spotted Delphine and rushed over. But the rush was performative, controlled, like she was playing the part of concerned mother rather than being one. Where is she? Is she okay? What happened? The questions came rapid fire, but Cordelia didn't wait for answers. She was already looking around, checking who might be watching, who might recognize her. Delphine stood up slowly, every muscle in her body tense. She overdosed on your Ambien. 16 pills. They pumped her stomach. She's stable now, but it was close. 16? But how did she… Cordelia stopped, realization dawning. Those were in my bathroom, in the medicine cabinet, where you keep them in a crystal container with no lock, where a depressed teenager could access them anytime she wanted. Cordelia's face flushed. Don't you dare blame me for this. I had no idea she was… How was I supposed to know? Maybe if you were home occasionally, maybe if you were sober occasionally, maybe if you talked to your daughter instead of at her. Excuse me? Cordelia's voice went sharp, that tone rich women use when someone beneath their social class forgets their place. You work for me. You don't get to speak to me like that. Your daughter almost died this morning while you were deciding which outfit to wear. I was in shock. I needed time to process. She needed her mother. Other people in the waiting room were starting to look. Cordelia noticed, lowered her voice to a harsh whisper. We are not doing this here. Where's Vincent? Have you reached him? He's not answering. His assistant says he's in meetings all day. Well, keep trying. He needs to know what's happened. Delphine wanted to scream. Simone is what happened. Your daughter trying to die is what happened. But sure, let's focus on reaching Vincent so he can continue prioritizing business over his dying child. Cordelia pulled out her phone, started typing frantically. I need to call our lawyer. We need to control this situation before it gets out. If the media finds out that a Whitmore… Control the situation? Delphine couldn't believe what she was hearing. Your daughter is in there fighting for her life, and you're worried about public relations? You don't understand how things work in our world. Perception matters. Reputation matters. If this gets out, it could affect Vincent's business, Marcus's future, our standing in the community. Simone matters, Delphine's voice echoed through the waiting room. An elderly couple looked over. A nurse paused in the hallway. Cordelia grabbed Delphine's arm, pulled her toward a corner, away from watching eyes. Her grip was surprisingly strong, fingers digging in hard enough to bruise. Lower your voice, you're making a scene. Good, maybe somebody should make a scene. Maybe somebody should care more about your daughter's life than your family's image. Cordelia's eyes went cold. You're fired. The words came out calm, practiced, like she'd fired people before and would again. Delphine laughed. Actually laughed. Fire me then, but I'm not leaving until I know she's okay. The automatic doors slid open and Marcus stumbled in, still wearing last night's club clothes. Black jeans, designer t-shirt with someone's drink spilled down the front, expensive sneakers with the laces untied. His eyes were bloodshot. His hands shook. He'd either tried to sober up during the drive and failed, or he'd kept drinking. Based on the way he weaved toward them, Delphine guessed the latter. "Where is she?" His voice cracked. "Where's my sister?" Cordelia's entire demeanor shifted. Mother mode activated, or at least the performance of it. "Marcus, honey, she's stable. The doctors are taking care of her." "What happened?" "Delphine said she overdosed, but that can't be right. Simone doesn't do drugs. She's the good one." He was rambling, words tumbling out too fast, panic and alcohol making his thoughts incoherent. "She took sleeping pills," Delphine said quietly. "A lot of them." Marcus turned to look at her, and something in his face broke. The cocky party boy disappeared, replaced by a scared kid who just realized his baby sister tried to die. "On purpose?" Nobody answered. The silence was answer enough. Marcus's legs gave out. He sank into one of the waiting room chairs, head in his hands, and started sobbing. Not crying, sobbing. The kind of crying that comes from deep in your chest, that sounds like drowning, that makes your whole body shake. "This is my fault," he choked out between sobs. "I knew she was sad. I knew and I didn't. I was too drunk to care, too high to notice, too selfish to—" "Marcus, stop." Cordelia reached for him, but he jerked away. "No, don't touch me. This is all of us. We did this to her." He looked up at his mother, tears streaming down his face, and Delphine saw clarity in his eyes despite the alcohol. The kind of clarity that comes when something jolts you awake to truths you've been avoiding. "When's the last time you had a real conversation with her, Mom? When's the last time Dad was actually present? When's the last time any of us treated her like she mattered?" Cordelia opened her mouth to respond, but Marcus wasn't done. "She's 17 years old and she wanted to die. Because of us. Because we made her feel like she didn't matter." A nurse approached their corner, clipboard in hand, looking tired but kind. She scanned the small group, then focused on Delphine. "Mrs. Whitmore, your granddaughter is asking for you." The words hung in the air for 3 full seconds before anyone processed them. Cordelia found her voice first. "I'm Mrs. Whitmore." The nurse looked confused, glanced at her clipboard, then at Delphine. "I'm sorry, I just assumed." Simone asked for her grandmother specifically. She said her name was Delphine. Delphine's heart stopped. "She's awake?" "Just came to a few minutes ago. First thing she said was, 'Where's Delphine?' We told her you were in the waiting room and she asked if you could come back." "Are you her grandmother?" "No, I work for the family." The nurse's expression shifted. Surprise, then something softer. Understanding, maybe. "Well, you're the family she wants right now. She was very clear about that. Would you like to see her?" Delphine looked at Cordelia, whose face had gone completely white. The implication was crushing. Simone woke up from a suicide attempt, and the first person she asked for wasn't her mother, wasn't her father, wasn't her brother. It was the maid. "I'll take you back," the nurse said to Delphine, already turning toward the emergency room doors. Cordelia stepped forward, voice shaking. "Wait, I'm her mother. I should be the one." The nurse's expression went professional, neutral. "I understand, ma'am, but hospital policy in cases like this is to honor the patient's wishes when they're conscious and coherent." She asked for Delphine specifically. "You can see her after, but right now, we need to respect what she's asking for. She's a minor. I'm her legal guardian. You can't just—" "Ma'am, your daughter just attempted suicide. What she needs right now is emotional safety and stability. If she's asking for someone specific, that's who we bring to her. You can take it up with administration if you like, but I'm not going to deny a suicidal teenager the one person she feels safe with." The nurse didn't say it meanly, just factually, like she'd dealt with situations like this before. Families where the person who showed up wasn't the person the patient wanted. Cordelia stood there speechless as Delphine followed the nurse through the doors that said, "Authorized personnel only." Marcus watched his mother's face crumble as those doors closed behind Delphine. For a moment, he felt something that might have been satisfaction. Mom finally getting a taste of how it feels to be rejected, to be unwanted, to reach for someone and find empty air. But then he saw the devastation in her eyes and felt only sadness. "She asked for the maid instead of us," Cordelia whispered, more to herself than to Marcus. My own daughter almost died and she asked for the maid. Marcus stood up, still unsteady but needing to say this. She asked for the person who sees her mom, the person who's actually present. Delphine knows what Simone eats for breakfast. Delphine knows when she's had a bad day. Delphine pays attention. I pay attention? No, you don't. Neither do I. Neither does Dad. We see Simone when it's convenient, when she fits into our schedule. Delphine sees her every single day because she's there. She shows up. When's the last time any of us actually showed up for Simone? Cordelia sank into a chair, expensive purse falling to the floor, designer sunglasses clattering across the linoleum. She didn't have an answer. Simone looked small in that hospital bed, 17 years old but looking about 12, swallowed up by white sheets and medical equipment. IV tubes snaked from her arms. Heart monitor beeped steadily. Oxygen tubes in her nose. Her skin was pale, almost translucent, and there were dark circles under her eyes that looked like bruises. But her eyes were open, focused, aware. Delphine, she whispered, and the relief in that single word broke something in Delphine's chest. Delphine rushed to the bedside, grabbed Simone's hand carefully around the IV. I'm here, baby. I'm right here. You found me. I did. I'm sorry. Tears started rolling down Simone's cheeks, silent and steady. I'm so sorry you had to see that. I didn't mean for you to be the one to find me. I thought I'd be gone before anyone came. Delphine squeezed her hand gently. Don't you apologize to me. Don't you dare. You've got nothing to be sorry for. I just wanted it to stop. All of it. The noise in my head, the feeling like I'm drowning, Her voice cracked. Nobody sees me. I'm invisible in my own house. Delphine pulled a chair close to the bed, sat down so she was eye level with Simone. I see you. I've always seen you. Then why didn't you stop me? It came out raw, not accusatory, just genuinely confused, like she really wanted to understand. Because I didn't know, baby. I saw pieces, the weight loss, the long sleeves, the sadness in your eyes, but I didn't put it all together until it was almost too late. And that's on me. I should have pushed harder, should have said something to your parents, should have. They wouldn't have listened. Simone's voice was flat, stating a fact. Nobody listens. I got straight A's. Nobody noticed. I made honor roll. Dad was in Tokyo. I won that writing competition. Mom was too drunk to remember. I stopped eating for 3 weeks and nobody asked if I was okay. The journal said this was your third attempt. Simone looked away, shame coloring her pale cheeks. You read it. The doctors needed to know. Simone, why didn't you tell someone? Why didn't you tell me? Because even you have more important things to worry about than the rich girl with everything who's sad for no reason. You don't have everything, Delphine said firmly. You have money. You have things. But you don't have what matters. You don't have parents who see you. You don't have a home that feels safe. You don't have people who make you feel like your life matters. Simone closed her eyes, more tears leaking out. There's this person online, Truth Teller 99. They were the only one who understood. They said my family would be better off without me, that I was a burden, that ending it would be doing everyone a favor. Delphine's blood ran cold. Baby, that person was lying to you. That person was poisoning your mind. But they were right. Look at my family. Dad's never home. Mom's always drunk. Marcus is a mess. I'm just another problem they have to deal with. No, you're a daughter they should cherish, a sister who deserves love, a person who matters. Delphine leaned in closer. That person online, they're a predator. They found a hurting girl and made her hurt worse. That's evil. That's not truth. How do you know? Because the truth is, you deserve to be here. You deserve to be seen. You deserve to be loved. A knock on the door interrupted them. The same doctor from earlier stepped in, followed by a woman in business casual clothing carrying a tablet. Simone, this is Dr. Patricia Chen. She's a psychiatrist. We'd like to talk with you and your family about next steps. Dr. Chen had kind eyes but a serious expression. She'd clearly dealt with situations like this before. Simone, I'm glad you're awake. How are you feeling? Tired, sad, embarrassed. Those are all understandable feelings. I've reviewed your case, including the journal entries. I want to be very direct with you. Is that okay? Simone nodded. You're in serious danger, not just from this attempt, but from the pattern I'm seeing. 3 attempts in 8 months, escalating in severity, ongoing self-harm, engagement with someone online who's encouraging suicidal ideation, active depression, and possible trauma responses. Without immediate intervention and significant changes in your support system, statistics say you'll try again within 6 months. The words landed like physical blows. Delphine felt them in her chest. Am I going to die? Simone asked, voice small and scared. Not if we get you the help you need, but that requires honesty, commitment, and a complete restructuring of how your family functions. Are your parents here? Delphine walked Dr. Chen back to the waiting room, where Cordelia sat scrolling through her phone, and Marcus paced like a caged animal trying to sober up through movement. Mr. and Mrs. Whitmore? Dr. Chen looked between them, trying to figure out who was who. I'm Cordelia Whitmore. She stood up, smoothing her expensive pantsuit. How's my daughter? Physically stable. Mentally, we have significant concerns. I need to speak with both parents together. Is Mr. Whitmore available? He's overseas, business trip. We're trying to reach him. Dr. Chen's expression remained neutral, but Delphine could read the judgment there. Your daughter attempts suicide, and her father is unreachable on a business trip. The psychiatrist had definitely seen this story before. I see. Well, I'm going to need to speak with at least one parent immediately. Simone is a minor, and we need parental consent for the psychiatric hold we're recommending. Psychiatric hold? Cordelia's voice pitched up. You mean like keeping her here? Committed? 72-hour evaluation hold, required by law in cases of attempted suicide. After that, we'll determine if longer-term inpatient treatment is necessary. People will find out. They'll know she was... Mrs. Whitmore, Dr. Chen interrupted, her patience clearly wearing thin. Your daughter tried to kill herself this morning. She very nearly succeeded. She has a history of attempts that went unnoticed. She's being manipulated by an online predator. She's engaging in self-harm. She's clinically depressed with suicidal ideation. And your concern is about people finding out? You don't understand. Our family has a reputation. Vincent's company is about to go public. If this gets out, your daughter might still be alive to see it. If we don't intervene now, she won't be. The bluntness of that statement should have stopped Cordelia cold, should have made her realize what she was saying, should have shocked her into clarity. Instead, she turned to Delphine, eyes wild. This is your fault. You should have been watching her. You're here every day. How did you miss the signs? Marcus stopped pacing. Mom, don't. No, she works for us. She's supposed to pay attention to these things. We pay her to manage the house, and that includes... Includes what? Delphine's voice came out dangerously quiet. Includes raising your children for you? Includes loving your daughter because you can't be bothered? How dare you speak to me like that? Cordelia's voice went shrill. Other people in the waiting room were definitely watching now. A security guard near the entrance shifted his attention their direction. How dare I? Delphine felt something crack inside her. 23 years of swallowing words, of staying in her place, of watching this family destroy itself while she cleaned up their messes. Your daughter is in there wishing she was dead because you're too drunk and too self-absorbed to notice she's suffering. You're fired. Do you hear me? Fired. I want you out of my house by tonight. Your house? Delphine laughed, bitter and sharp. That house stopped being a home the day you started caring more about what the neighbors think than what your children feel. Cordelia stepped closer, finger pointed at Delphine's face. You know what this is really about? You're jealous. Jealous of what we have. Jealous of our life. Jealous that you're just the help and you'll always be just the help. Dr. Chen tried to intervene. Ladies, please. But Cordelia was on a roll now. 20 years of pills and wine and avoidance bubbling up into venom. My daughter did this to herself because she wants attention. She's always been dramatic, always been difficult. She has everything, and she's still not happy. Do you know how exhausting it is to have a child who's never satisfied? Who's always sad for no reason? Who makes everything about her problems? How could she do this to me? Cordelia's voice cracked, tears starting to flow. But they were tears of self-pity, not grief. How could she be so selfish? Doesn't she know what this will do to our family? To Vincent's business? To Marcus's reputation? How could she do this to me? That was it. That was the moment. Delphine's hand moved before her brain caught up. The slap echoed through the waiting room like a gunshot. Sharp, clean, unmistakable. Cordelia stumbled backward, hand flying to her cheek, eyes wide with shock. The entire waiting room went silent. The security guards started moving toward them. Dr. Chen froze. Marcus's mouth dropped open. Delphine's hand stung. She didn't care. She'd been wanting to do that for years. That girl in there didn't do anything to you. Delphine's voice was steady, clear, loud enough for everyone to hear. She's not trying to ruin your reputation. She's not being dramatic. She's not seeking attention. She's dying. She's been dying slowly for months, and you've been too busy shopping and drinking and worrying about what the country club thinks to notice. The security guard reached them. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to... She tried to kill herself 3 times. Delphine ignored the guard, kept her eyes locked on Cordelia. 3 times your daughter wanted to die, and you didn't notice. Not once. Because you're not present. You're not a mother. You're a ghost in expensive clothes pretending to have a life. You have no right. Cordelia's voice shook. I have every right. I've watched that girl grow up. I've seen her pain. I've heard her cry herself to sleep. I've cleaned up her blood from the bathroom sink when she cuts herself. Where were you? Where the hell were you? Cordelia's face went white. She cuts herself. You didn't know. Of course you didn't know. You don't know anything about your own daughter. The security guard put a hand on Delphine's arm. Ma'am, you need to leave. You can't assault people in the hospital. It was 1 slap, and it was 23 years overdue. I'm calling the police, Cordelia said, pulling out her phone with shaking hands. I'm pressing charges. You assaulted me. There are witnesses. Do it. Delphine didn't move, didn't flinch. Call them. Tell them how your maid slapped you because you were more worried about your reputation than your suicidal daughter. I'm sure that'll look great in the press. I'm sure Vincent's stockholders will love that story. Cordelia lowered the phone slightly. That's what I thought. Delphine turned to the security guard. I'll leave, but I'm not apologizing. Not to her. Not for that. Ma'am, I understand emotions are high, but no, you don't understand. Delphine looked at Cordelia one more time. That slap was me trying to wake you up. Your daughter is dying, and you're worried about your reputation. Wake up before you lose her forever. Marcus suddenly spoke up, voice rough. She's right, Mom, about all of it. Marcus pulled out his phone, hands still shaking from alcohol withdrawal. I need to try Dad again. He needs to know. He fumbled with the phone, meant to hit the call button, but his coordination was shot. Instead, he accidentally initiated a FaceTime call. The phone rang, once, twice. Then Vincent's face filled the screen. Marcus, what's wrong? Why are you FaceTiming me? Marcus looked down at his phone in surprise, then up at the scene in front of him. Delphine being escorted away by security, Cordelia holding her reddening cheek, Dr. Chen looking professionally horrified, other waiting room patients whispering and pointing. Dad, you need to come home. Simone tried to kill herself. There was a pause. Marcus could see his father sitting in what looked like a hotel room, business papers spread across a desk behind him. Vincent's face went from annoyed at the interruption to confused to shocked in the span of 3 seconds. What? When? Is she? This morning, Delphine found her. Overdose. She's stable now, but Dad, it's bad. Really bad. Vincent stood up, started pacing in the hotel room. I'm in Singapore. I can't just... There's a board meeting tomorrow that I've been planning for months. Your daughter almost died. Marcus's voice cracked. Marcus was still holding the phone up, had forgotten he was even on FaceTime. Vincent could see everything through the camera, his wife with a red handprint on her face, security guards, the hospital setting, the chaos. Marcus, what's going on? Why is there security? Is that your mother? What happened to her face? Delphine heard Vincent's voice coming from the phone. Something in her snapped again. She walked back toward Marcus, gently took the phone from his hands. Vincent's face filled the screen. Even through the pixels and distance, she could see the calculation in his eyes. How to handle this, how to minimize damage, how to control the situation. "Mr. Whitmore," Delphine said, her voice eerily calm now. "Your daughter tried to kill herself this morning. This was her third attempt. Third. You weren't here for the first two, and you're not here for this one. Your wife is more concerned about what the neighbors will think than whether Simone lives or dies. I just slapped her across the face because she said Simone did this to her. Like your daughter's suicide attempt is a personal attack on the Whitmore family reputation." Vincent's mouth opened, closed. No words came out. "Your son is drunk at 11 in the morning because that's how he copes with growing up invisible. Your wife takes pills and drinks wine all day because she's so miserable she can't stand to be sober in her own life. And your daughter carves pain into her own skin because it's the only thing that makes her feel real." Delphine moved the phone closer to her face, making sure Vincent could see her clearly, making sure he couldn't look away. "That girl in there, your daughter, asked for me when she woke up. Not her mother, not her father, not her brother, me, the maid, because I'm the only person in her life who actually sees her, who pays attention, who gives a damn whether she lives or dies." "Delphine, You what? You didn't know? You were busy? You were building an empire?" Her voice rose. "What good is an empire if your family crumbles? What's the point of all that money if your children are dying inside?" Vincent's face had gone pale on the screen. For the first time since Delphine had known him, he looked genuinely shaken, actually present in the moment. "I quit," Delphine said. "Not angry anymore. Just tired. Bone-deep tired of watching people destroy themselves. I've spent 23 years watching your family fall apart. I've cleaned your house, raised your children, kept your secrets, and stayed silent when I should have screamed. But I'm done. I'm done watching Simone suffer. I'm done watching Marcus drink himself to death. I'm done watching Cordelia medicate her misery. And I'm done watching you pretend that success at work means you're succeeding at life." She handed the phone back to Marcus. "Your daughter is in room 247. The doctors want to do a 72-hour psychiatric hold. After that, she needs long-term treatment. She needs therapy. She needs a family that shows up. She needs parents who love her more than they love their image." Delphine looked at Cordelia, at Marcus, then back at Vincent's face on the screen. "You get one chance to fix this. One. Simone won't survive another attempt," the doctor said as much. "So you can keep living the way you've been living, or you can wake up and be the family that girl deserves. Your choice." She turned to walk away. "Wait!" Vincent's voice came through the phone speaker, stopping Delphine mid-step. Marcus held up the phone so everyone could see Vincent's face. The man looked 10 years older than he had 30 seconds ago. "Delphine's right." His voice was quiet, almost broken. "About all of it. I'm getting on the next plane home. I don't care about the board meeting. I don't care about the deal. I'm coming home." Cordelia made a small sound, surprise or protest or maybe just shock that Vincent was actually choosing them for once. "Marcus, you stay with your sister. Don't leave the hospital. Cordelia," he paused, seemed to be choosing his words carefully. "We need to talk. About everything. About how we got here. About how we fix this. Vincent, I don't care what you think right now. Our daughter tried to die. Our son is an alcoholic. Our marriage is dead. Our family's broken. And we did this. You and me. We broke them." The waiting room was dead silent. Even the security guards had stopped moving, riveted by this family's private devastation playing out on a phone screen. Dr. Chen finally found her voice. "Mr. Whitmore, I'm Dr. Patricia Chen, the psychiatrist assigned to Simone's case. I'm glad you're coming home. We need both parents present for the treatment planning. I'll be there in 18 hours, whatever she needs. Therapy, treatment facility, whatever it takes. Cost doesn't matter. Just save my daughter." He hung up. The silence that followed was heavy, thick with everything that had just been said. Truths that couldn't be unsaid. Damage that couldn't be undone. A family cracked open for everyone to see. Cordelia slowly sat down in one of the waiting room chairs, still holding her cheek where Delphine's handprint was fading to pink. She looked small suddenly, not elegant or sophisticated or in control, just small and scared and very, very lost. Marcus sank into the chair next to her, put his head in his hands. The security guard looked at Delphine. "Ma'am, I still need you to leave the premises." Delphine nodded. "Can I say goodbye to Simone first?" Dr. Chen stepped in. "I'll allow it, 5 minutes." Delphine stood in the small staff quarters behind the Whitmore Mansion's kitchen, staring at 23 years of her life packed into 3 cardboard boxes. It didn't amount to much. A few family photos she'd kept on the nightstand, books she'd read during lunch breaks, a sweater Simone had given her for Christmas 3 years ago. Cashmere, probably cost more than Delphine made in a week, with a card that said, "Thank you for seeing me," in Simone's careful handwriting. That card sat on top of everything else. Delphine picked it up, read it again, felt her throat tighten. "Thank you for seeing me." Even then, at 14, Simone had known she was invisible to her own family, had known that the maid was the only one paying attention. Delphine folded the card carefully, tucked it into her purse. Some things you keep forever. The room felt smaller than usual, 500 square feet that had been her home away from home for over 2 decades. She'd raised her own daughter while living in this room part-time, video chatting from this bed, celebrating Teresa's college acceptance while sitting at this tiny desk. Now she was leaving. She'd said goodbye to Simone at the hospital. 5 minutes, like Dr. Chen promised. 5 minutes to tell a 17-year-old girl that she mattered, that her life had value, that this wasn't the end, even though it felt like it. "You're leaving?" Simone had asked, tears already forming. "I have to, baby. Your mama fired me. And honestly, I can't watch this family destroy itself anymore. It hurts too much." "But you're the only one who—" Simone's voice broke. "You're the only one who cares." "That's not true. Your daddy's coming home. Your mama's scared, which means she's finally feeling something real. Your brother stood up for you today. Things are changing. What if it's not enough? What if I still want to? Then you call me." Delphine had pressed a piece of paper into Simone's hand, her personal cell number, written in careful print. "Day or night, 3 in the morning, doesn't matter. You call me. You don't have to do this alone." Simone had clutched that paper like a lifeline. Now packing her boxes, Delphine wondered if she'd made the right choice leaving. Delphine heard the car in the driveway at 11 p.m., 27 hours after that FaceTime call, record time from Singapore. She was in the staff quarters, had planned to leave in the morning, but Cordelia was upstairs somewhere, and Marcus was still at the hospital, and Delphine couldn't bring herself to walk out without saying something, leaving some final words, making sure they understood what was at stake. Through the small window, she watched Vincent get out of a black car. No driver this time. He'd driven himself from the airport. That was unusual. Vincent Whitmore always had someone else drive, always used car time to make calls, send emails, be productive. He looked exhausted. His suit was wrinkled. Vincent never wore wrinkled suits. His tie was loosened. He carried a briefcase but held it like it weighed 1,000 pounds. He stood in the driveway for a long moment, staring at his house like he was seeing it for the first time. Or maybe like he was afraid to go inside, afraid of what he'd find, afraid of who he'd become in the 27 hours since his world fell apart on a phone screen. A soft knock on the staff quarters door. Delphine froze. She'd expected Vincent to go straight into the main house to deal with Cordelia, to avoid her entirely now that she'd quit and assaulted his wife. "Delphine, are you in there?" His voice sounded different, smaller somehow, less certain. She opened the door. Vincent stood there in the dim hallway, still in his rumpled suit, looking more human than she'd ever seen him. "Mr. Whitmore, welcome home. Can we talk?" He glanced at the boxes. "Unless you've already left." "I'm leaving in the morning." "Please don't." The words came out rushed, almost desperate. "Not yet. Not until I've had a chance to. I need to understand what happened. Really understand. And I think you're the only person who can tell me the truth." Delphine studied his face. No calculation there now. No business strategy. Just a man who'd flown halfway around the world and was finally ready to hear things he'd been avoiding for years. "All right," she said, "but I'm not holding back. You want truth? You'll get truth. That's what I'm asking for." They sat in the main kitchen, the same kitchen where Delphine had found Simone slumped over the counter just 2 days ago. Vincent sat at the island, in the exact spot where his daughter had tried to die. Delphine wondered if he knew, wondered if he'd sat there on purpose or if he had no idea that was the spot. She made coffee, old habit. Vincent looked like he hadn't slept in days. He wrapped his hands around the mug but didn't drink, just held it like he needed something warm to anchor him. "Tell me everything," he said quietly. "Start from the beginning. Tell me when it started going wrong." "The beginning?" Delphine sat down across from him. "The beginning was probably before I even started working here. But the moment I knew your family was in trouble, about 5 years ago, Simone was 12. She came home from school with an award for a writing competition. First place in the whole county. She was so excited, kept talking about how you'd finally be proud of her." Vincent looked up. "I don't remember that." "Exactly. You were in London that week, some pharmaceutical merger. You called home once, talked to Cordelia for maybe 3 minutes about household maintenance issues. Never asked about the kids. Simone waited by the phone all evening, hoping you'd call back. You didn't." Vincent's face went pale. I always thought providing for them was enough, making sure they had everything they needed." "They didn't need things, Mr. Whitmore. They needed you." "Keep going. Tell me more." So Delphine did. She told him about Marcus at 16, getting his stomach pumped after alcohol poisoning at a friend's house, how Cordelia had paid the hospital to keep it quiet and never told Vincent because he was closing some deal in Frankfurt. Told him about finding cigarette burns on Simone's arms 2 years ago, how she'd worn long sleeves all summer and nobody questioned it. Told him about the family dinners where everyone sat in silence, about holidays where presents were opened but no one looked at each other, about birthdays forgotten and milestones missed and 1,000 tiny moments where his children had needed their father and found an empty chair instead. "Last Christmas," Delphine continued, "Simone made a comment at dinner. She said, 'I wonder what it's like to have a family that actually likes each other.' You know what happened?" Vincent shook his head, looking sick. "Nothing. Absolutely nothing." Cordelia refilled her wine glass. Marcus checked his phone. "You answered an email. Nobody even acknowledged she'd spoken." "God." Vincent put his head in his hands. 3 months ago, I walked into Simone's bathroom and found blood in the sink. Fresh cuts on her wrists, not deep enough to be deadly, but deep enough to need bandages. I cleaned it up, put antibiotic ointment on the cuts, told her she could talk to me anytime. But I didn't tell Cordelia, because what would I have said? Your daughter is cutting herself because she's desperate for you to notice she exists? You should have told us. Would you have listened? You were in Tokyo that week, unreachable. Cordelia was doing some charity fashion show, more concerned about what dress she was wearing than what was happening in her own house. There was a parent-teacher conference 6 months ago. Simone's English teacher called, said she was worried. Said Simone had written an essay about feeling invisible, about wondering if anyone would notice if she disappeared. The teacher wanted to meet with you and Cordelia wanted to discuss getting Simone some support. I never knew about that, because Cordelia handled it. She went to the meeting, told the teacher that Simone was just being dramatic, that teenage girls are emotional, that there was nothing to worry about. She donated $10,000 to the school's art program, and the teacher never brought it up again. Vincent looked like he might be sick. She bought off the teacher? Money fixes everything in your world, Mr. Whitmore. Except it doesn't. It just hides problems until they explode. What else? What else did I miss? Marcus got arrested 2 months ago. DUI, third offense. Your lawyers made it go away before it hit any records. Cordelia never told you. Marcus spent 3 days in jail before the bail was posted. Do you know what he told me when he got out? He said, at least someone finally stopped me. Delphine stood up, paced the kitchen, all the years of silence breaking open like a dam. Your wife takes Xanax every morning, Adderall by noon, washes it down with wine, and takes Ambien to sleep. She's been doing this for 3 years. Her doctor is on your payroll. He prescribes whatever she asks for. Your son can't go 24 hours without a drink. He keeps vodka in his bathroom, whiskey in his car, beer in a mini fridge in his closet. And your daughter, her voice broke, your daughter has been screaming for help in every way she knows how. Losing weight, wearing long sleeves, writing about death in school assignments, asking that predator online to tell her she's worthless because at least someone was paying enough attention to have an opinion about her existence. Vincent's hands were shaking. The coffee sat untouched, probably cold now. How did I not see any of this? Because you weren't looking. You were building an empire, and empires don't build themselves. They require sacrifice. You just didn't realize you were sacrificing your family. Vincent stood up abruptly, walked to the window overlooking the backyard. Delphine watched his shoulders shake, heard the breath catch in his throat. He was crying. In 23 years, Delphine had never seen Vincent Whitmore show emotion beyond mild irritation. He was the man who negotiated billion-dollar deals without blinking, who fired executives with detached efficiency, who controlled every room he entered. But now he stood at the window and wept like a child. I don't know them, he said, voice breaking. I don't know my own children, Marcus's favorite color, Simone's favorite food, what they want to do with their lives, what makes them happy, what scares them. I don't know any of it. I can tell you the quarterly earnings of every division in my company, but I can't tell you the last real conversation I had with my son. He turned back to face Delphine, tears streaming down his face, no longer caring about appearances or control or maintaining the Vincent Whitmore facade. When did I become this person? When did I stop being a father and become just this? A man who has everything and nothing at the same time? Vincent sank back into the chair, put his face in his hands. His voice came out muffled but clear. I had a father like me, successful, absent, more concerned about the business than his kids. I hated him for it. Swore I'd be different when I had children. Swore I'd be present, involved, that my kids would know I loved them. He looked up at Delphine with red-rimmed eyes. And I became exactly what I hated. Worse maybe, because I knew better. I knew what it felt like to be the kid whose dad never showed up. And I did it anyway. I chose board meetings over birthdays, chose conference calls over family dinners, chose everything except them. Why? Delphine asked gently. Because business was easier. I could measure success in numbers, profits, growth, stock prices. It was all clear, definable. But fatherhood, marriage, that was messy and complicated, and I didn't know if I was doing it right, so I just didn't do it at all. I ran. I hid behind work, and my family paid the price. You're right, Delphine said, about all of it. You did choose wrong. You did fail them. You did become what you hated. Vincent flinched but didn't argue. But you're here now. That's something. Most men in your position would send lawyers, write a check, hire the best therapist money can buy and think that fixed it. You flew home. You're sitting in this kitchen asking the hard questions. You're crying. You're admitting fault. That's accountability. That's the first step. Is it enough? I don't know. Simone tried to kill herself 3 times. Marcus is an alcoholic at 21. Cordelia is addicted to pills and wine and shopping. Your family's broken in ways that take years to fix, not days. But can it be fixed? Delphine sat back down, looked him in the eye. That depends on you, on whether you're willing to do the actual work. Not throw money at the problem, actually change. Be uncomfortable. Show up even when it's hard. Choose them over everything else. Every single time. No exceptions. I will. I swear to God, I will. Don't swear to me. Swear to them. And then prove it. I need you to stay, Vincent said. I know Cordelia fired you. I know you quit. I know you have every reason to walk away. But I'm asking you to stay. Not as staff, as family. You're more family to my children than I've been. Please. Delphine looked at this broken man sitting in his expensive kitchen in his wrinkled suit, finally ready to face what he'd been running from for years. I'll stay through Simone's recovery, through the family therapy, through whatever comes next. But you need to understand something, Mr. Whitmore. Vincent, please, just Vincent. Vincent, you need to understand that I'm not staying to make things easy for you. I'm staying for those kids, for Simone and Marcus. Because they deserve to have at least one person in this house who's there for the right reasons. That's all I'm asking for. Then we have an agreement. But the moment you slip back into old patterns, the moment you choose business over them again, I'm gone. And I'll take Simone with me if I have to. Vincent nodded. Fair enough. They sat in silence for a moment. The kitchen clock ticked. Somewhere in the house, a pipe groaned. Outside, wind rustled through the manicured trees of the estate. What's Marcus's favorite color? Delphine asked suddenly. Vincent looked startled. What? You said you don't know, so I'm telling you. It's blue. Not light blue, not navy. That specific shade of blue that the ocean is at sunset. He told me once when he was 15. Said it reminded him of a vacation you all took to Martha's Vineyard when he was 7. Said it was the last time he remembered the family being happy. Vincent's eyes filled with tears again. I remember that vacation. I took 2 weeks off. We actually spent time together. He's been chasing that feeling ever since, looking for it at the bottom of bottles because he can't find it at home. And Simone? Her favorite food is the chocolate chip pancakes I make Sunday mornings. Her favorite book is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Her favorite... Stop! Vincent held up a hand. I should know these things. Yes, you should. Vincent stood up, walked over to Delphine, and extended his hand. Not in a business handshake kind of way, in a gesture of respect, of gratitude, of humility. Thank you for telling me the truth. For loving my children when I didn't. For slapping my wife awake. For staying. Delphine took his hand. His grip was firm, but his hand was shaking. Don't thank me yet. The hard part is just beginning. Simone's going to need intensive therapy. Marcus needs rehab. Cordelia needs treatment for addiction. And you need to figure out who you want to be. The father you always wanted or the one you became. I know which one I choose. Choosing is easy. Following through is hard. But I'll tell you this much. Those kids deserve better than what they've had. They deserve a father who shows up. Can you be that? Vincent met her eyes. For the first time since she'd known him, there was no calculation there. Just raw honesty. I don't know, but I'm going to try. Morning came too fast. Delphine woke up in the staff quarters, still hadn't unpacked those boxes, to the sound of raised voices in the main house. She checked her phone. 7:15 a.m. She'd only slept 3 hours after her conversation with Vincent ended past 2 in the morning. The voices got louder. One was Vincent's, steady but firm. The other was Cordelia's, shrill and defensive. Delphine pulled on her robe and walked toward the noise. In the living room, Cordelia stood with her phone pressed to her ear. Still in yesterday's clothes, makeup smeared, hair wild. Vincent stood blocking her path to the front door. Yes, I'd like to report an assault, Cordelia said into the phone, her voice shaking with rage or pills or withdrawal, hard to tell which. Yesterday at Greenwich Hospital, a woman who worked for us, she struck me across the face in front of witnesses. I want to press charges. Vincent reached for the phone. Cordelia, hang up. She jerked away from him. No, she assaulted me. She can't just get away with that because you feel guilty about Simone. Hang up the phone. Marcus appeared in the doorway, looking worse than yesterday if that was possible. He clearly slept at the hospital. His clothes were rumpled, his eyes bloodshot, and he smelled like antiseptic and fear. But he was sober. First time Delphine had seen him genuinely sober in months. Mom, what are you doing? I'm having that woman arrested for assault. She had no right to. She had every right. Marcus's voice came out steady, clear. No slurring, no hesitation. She slapped you because you deserved it. Because you were more worried about your reputation than Simone's life. Because someone needed to wake you up, and Dad was in Singapore, and I was too drunk to function. Cordelia stared at her son like he'd grown a second head. Excuse me? You're not pressing charges. You're going to hang up that phone, and you're going to apologize to Delphine. I'm your mother. You don't talk to me like... You stopped being my mother years ago. The words came out sad, not angry. Statement of fact, not accusation. You became someone who takes pills and drinks wine and shops online and pretends everything is fine. That's not a mother. That's just someone I live with. Cordelia's hand holding the phone slowly lowered. The 911 operator's voice squawked from the speaker. "Ma'am, are you still there? Do you wish to proceed with the report?" She hung up without answering. For a long moment, nobody moved. The morning sun streamed through the massive windows, making the dust particles visible in the air, highlighting how exhausted everyone looked. "Simone asked for you last night," Marcus said to Cordelia. "Actually asked. First time she's wanted to see you in months. The nurses called around midnight. You were passed out upstairs. I went instead. I was tired. I'd had a stressful day. You were high on whatever pills you'd taken and whatever wine you'd drunk. Your daughter is in a psychiatric hold and you were too wasted to visit her." Cordelia's face went white, then red. "How dare you judge me? You drink every single day. You're drunk more than you're sober." "You're right. I'm an alcoholic. I admit it. I need help." "Can you say the same?" The question hung in the air like smoke. Cordelia opened her mouth, closed it. No words came out. Delphine had been standing in the doorway, watching this family implode and rebuild simultaneously. She didn't say anything. This wasn't her fight. This was something the Whitmores needed to do themselves. Vincent spoke up, his voice gentle but firm. "Cordelia, we need to talk. Really talk. Not the surface conversations we've been having for years. We need to talk about what's happening to this family." "Nothing is happening. Simone is just going through a phase." "Simone tried to kill herself," Marcus's voice cracked. 3 times. That's not a phase. That's a cry for help that none of us heard because we were all too busy being miserable in our own ways. I am not miserable. I have everything I ever wanted. Beautiful home, successful husband, healthy children. Healthy? Marcus laughed, bitter and sharp. Simone's in the hospital after an overdose, and I haven't been sober for more than 48 hours in 2 years. We're not healthy, Mom. We're disasters. And you... He stopped, seemed to be gathering courage. "You're the biggest disaster of all. Get out!" Cordelia's voice went cold. "Get out of my house. You're drunk, you're cruel, and I don't have to listen to this. I'm not drunk. For the first time in forever, I'm completely sober. And that's the problem. I can finally see clearly. See what we've become. See what you've become. I have done everything for this family. I've maintained this home. I've hosted charity events. I've kept up appearances. You've avoided being a real person," Marcus shouted. "You've played the part of the perfect wife and mother while actually being neither. You've numbed yourself so much you can't feel anything real anymore." Cordelia slapped him. The sound echoed through the living room. Sharp, clean, unmistakable. Marcus's head snapped to the side. He stood there for a moment, hand going to his reddening cheek, and then he started laughing. Not happy laughter, the kind that comes when something is so absurd you can't process it any other way. "You slapped me for telling the truth. Delphine slapped you for the same reason. Maybe that's the only way this family communicates. Through violence because we never learned to use words." Something in Cordelia's face changed. The anger drained away, replaced by something raw and frightened. Her hand was still raised from the slap, trembling in the air like she couldn't remember how it got there. "I'm not," her voice broke. "I'm not like this. This isn't who I am." "Then who are you?" Vincent asked quietly. "Because I don't know anymore. I don't think you know either." Cordelia lowered her hand slowly, looked around the room like she was seeing it for the first time. The expensive furniture, the art on the walls, the crystal vases and designer curtains, and all the trappings of wealth that she'd accumulated like armor against feeling anything real. "I'm so tired," she whispered. "I'm so tired of pretending everything is fine when nothing is fine. I'm tired of taking pills to get through the day. I'm tired of drinking to get through the night. I'm tired of being this person." She sank onto the couch, putting her face in her hands. Her shoulders started shaking. Vincent moved to sit beside her, tentative, like approaching a wounded animal. "Then stop pretending. Tell us the truth. All of it." Cordelia was quiet for so long, Delphine thought she might not speak at all. But then her voice came out, small and broken, like a child's. "My mother killed herself when I was 17. Same age Simone is now. The room went completely silent. I came home from school and found her in the bathtub. She'd slit her wrists. The water was red. Her eyes were open, but she wasn't there anymore. I stood in the doorway for, I don't know how long, 5 minutes, an hour, just staring at her, thinking if I looked away, it would become real. Marcus sank into a chair, all the anger draining from his face. Mom, I never knew. Nobody knows. My father made sure of it. Paid the coroner, paid the police, paid everyone who needed paying. The death certificate said accidental overdose. We had a small funeral. I wore black and pretended to be sad, but really I was angry. So angry at her for leaving me, for choosing death over me, for making me find her like that. Vincent's face had gone pale. In 20 years of marriage, you never told me. Because I buried it. I thought if I never talked about it, it would stop hurting. Delphine finally spoke, her voice gentle. But it didn't stop hurting. It just went underground. And you started medicating it with pills and wine and shopping and anything that would make you feel something other than that pain. Cordelia looked up at her, tears streaming down her face. I swore I'd never be like her. Never be weak, never give up, never let my children find me the way I found her. I was going to be strong, be perfect, be everything she wasn't. And instead you became exactly what you feared, Vincent said quietly. Not through suicide, but through slow disappearance. You're here, but you're not here. Present, but absent. Alive, but not living. I didn't mean to. I didn't know I was doing it. Marcus's voice was thick with unshed tears. Simone found you unconscious once. Last year, you'd mixed pills and wine and passed out on your bathroom floor. She called me, terrified you were dead. We got you to bed, never told Dad, never talked about it. But that's when she started cutting herself. Right after that. You almost did to her exactly what your mother did to you. Cordelia made a sound like a wounded animal, part sob, part gasp, entirely broken. Oh God, what have I done? I did the same thing. I'm doing the same thing. I'm killing myself slowly and making my children watch. She couldn't finish the sentence, couldn't say the words that would make it real. Vincent pulled her close, held her while she sobbed. It was the first time Delphine had seen them touch in years. Really touch, not the obligatory social touching they did for photos and public appearances. You're not your mother, Vincent said into her hair. You're here. You're still here. And that means you can change. You can heal. You can be different. I don't know how. I don't know how to stop. The pills, I need them. Without them, I can't function. I can't breathe. The anxiety is too much. The memories are too much. Everything is too much. That's addiction talking, Delphine said gently. That's your brain telling you lies to keep you using. But you can get help. Real help. Not just more pills from a doctor on the payroll. Cordelia pulled away from Vincent, wiping her face with shaking hands. She looked at Delphine, then at Marcus, then at Vincent. There's something else. Something I need to say before I lose my nerve. What is it? Vincent's voice was careful, like he was bracing for another blow. I've been taking Simone's medication, her anxiety prescription. She gets 60 pills a month. Klonopin, pretty strong dose. I've been taking half of them, sometimes more than half. That's why she kept asking her doctor for refills early, why she always ran out. It wasn't because she was taking too many. It was because I was stealing them. Marcus stood up so fast his chair fell over. You what? My prescriptions weren't enough anymore. My doctor wouldn't increase them. Said I was already at maximum safe dosage, but I needed more. The anxiety was getting worse, the memories were getting worse, and I couldn't cope without them. So when I found Simone's pills in her bathroom one day, I took a few, then a few more, then I couldn't stop. Vincent looked like he'd been punched. You stole anxiety medication from our daughter who was already struggling, our daughter who needed those pills. That's why she was cutting herself more, Marcus said, his voice hollow with realization. She couldn't manage her anxiety because you were stealing her medication. So she found other ways to cope. physical pain to distract from emotional pain. I didn't know she was cutting herself. I swear I didn't know. Because you weren't paying attention. Marcus's voice rose. You were too busy stealing her pills to notice she was carving lines into her own arms. Cordelia's face crumpled completely. You're right. You're all right. I'm a terrible mother. I'm broken and selfish, and I've destroyed my own children. Simone should have let me die when I overdosed last year. Would have been better for everyone. Stop! Delphine's voice cut through the chaos like a knife. You don't get to play victim now. You don't get to say you should die when your daughter just tried to do exactly that. You want to make this right? You face it. You own what you've done. You get help. You heal. And you become the mother those kids deserve from the beginning. Cordelia looked up at her, mascara streaked and broken. What if I can't? You can, Delphine said firmly, but you have to want to. You have to want it more than you want the pills, more than you want the wine, more than you want to hide from your pain. Vincent spoke up, his voice thick with emotion. Your mother's suicide doesn't define you, Cordelia. It shaped you, it hurt you, but it doesn't have to control you. You can break the cycle. You can be different. How? I've been this way for so long, I don't remember who I was before. That's what therapy is for. Real therapy, not just a prescription pad. Trauma therapy, addiction therapy, family therapy. It's going to be hard, it's going to hurt. You're going to have to face everything you've been running from for 25 years. Marcus sat back down, his anger shifting into something softer. Mom, I'm going to rehab. Dad already looked into programs. I'm going to deal with my drinking. Will you deal with your stuff? Will you actually try? Cordelia looked at her son, really looked at him, maybe for the first time in years, saw the damage she'd contributed to, saw the pain she'd caused, saw her own brokenness reflected in his eyes. Simone asked me something at the hospital, Cordelia said quietly. When I finally got to see her last night, she asked if I even wanted her to live, if it would be easier for me if she was gone. The room went silent. What did you say? Vincent asked. I couldn't answer. I froze. Because for a split second, just a split second, I thought about how much simpler things would be. No more worrying, no more guilt, no more failing her every single day. Cordelia's voice broke. What kind of mother thinks that about her own child? A mother who's sick, Delphine said. A mother who's been self-medicating trauma for decades. A mother who's drowning and doesn't know how to ask for help. But you're asking now. That matters. Does it? Does it matter if it's too late? If I've already broken her beyond repair? It's not too late, Marcus said. She's still alive. We're all still alive. We're all still here. That means we get another chance. But only if we actually take it. Cordelia wiped her eyes, took a shaky breath. Okay, I'll go. I'll get help. Real help. Vincent pulled out his phone. I'm calling treatment centers right now. Best programs in the country. Money is no object. No. Cordelia stopped him. Not the most expensive, the most effective. I don't want luxury rehab where rich people go to hide. I want the place that will actually help me. The place that's hard. That makes me face everything. That doesn't let me buy my way out of the work. Vincent lowered the phone, looking at his wife with something like respect. Okay, I'll find that place. And I need to talk to Simone. Really talk to her. Tell her the truth about my mother, about the pills, about why I've been so absent. She deserves to know it's not her fault. It was never her fault. The psychiatrist said we can do a family therapy session tomorrow, Vincent said. All of us together. Would you be ready for that? No, but I'll do it anyway. Marcus stood up, walked over to his mother, and pulled her into a hug. She stiffened at first. The Whitmores weren't huggers, hadn't been for years, but then collapsed into him, sobbing against his shoulder. Delphine watched this broken family start to piece itself back together. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't clean. It was messy and painful and raw. But it was real. Maybe the first real thing that had happened in this house in years. Hurt people, she said quietly. That's what my mama used to tell me. Hurt people until they face their pain. Your mama hurt you, Cordelia. Never dealt with her own pain. passed it down to you like an inheritance, and you've been passing it down to your children. That's the cycle. That's what trauma does. It travels through generations until someone's brave enough to stop it. Cordelia looked at her from Marcus's embrace. I want to stop it. I don't want Simone to be 17 with a dead mother. I want to be alive. Really alive, not this half-dead thing I've been. Then you fight. You face the pain. You heal. And you teach your children what healing looks like. Because they're watching. They've always been watching, waiting to see if change is possible. Is it? Cordelia asked. Is change actually possible? Delphine smiled sadly. Ask me in 6 months. 5 days after the overdose, Simone came home. Not really home, more like released into supervised custody. A psychiatric nurse named Patricia would stay in the guest room. Simone's medications would be locked in a safe only Patricia could access. Sharp objects removed from her bathroom. Windows in her bedroom fitted with locks that only opened 4 inches. The Whitmore mansion had been transformed into a prison designed to keep their daughter alive. Delphine watched from the kitchen window as Vincent helped Simone out of the car. She moved slowly, carefully, like someone who'd been broken and put back together with fragile glue. She wore loose clothes, hospital-issued sweatpants and a hoodie that swallowed her thin frame. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. No makeup, no jewelry. She looked younger than 17. Looked like the little girl Delphine remembered from a decade ago, before the weight of this family crushed her. Marcus held the front door open. Cordelia stood in the foyer, hands twisting together, not sure whether to hug her daughter or keep her distance. Simone walked past her mother without looking at her. Dr. Helena Cross arrived exactly at 2 o'clock. She was in her 50s, black woman with natural hair going silver at the temples, wearing comfortable clothes instead of the business formal Delphine had expected. She carried a leather bag and a presence that filled the room without her having to say a word. I don't do traditional therapy, she told Vincent on the phone when he tried to hire her. I don't sit in an office and nod while people avoid the truth. I come to where the trauma lives. I make people uncomfortable. I dig into wounds that haven't healed because they've never been properly cleaned. If you want someone who'll be gentle and let your family keep pretending, hire someone else. Vincent had hired her immediately. Now she stood in the Whitmore living room, looking around at the expensive furniture and art and crystal, and her expression said she'd seen this story before. Rich family, broken children, parents who thought money could fix anything. Let's begin, she said. Everyone sit, including you. She pointed at Delphine, who'd been trying to disappear into the kitchen. Dr. Cross sat in the center of the room. The Whitmores arranged themselves around her. Vincent and Cordelia on the sofa, Marcus in an armchair, Simone curled up in the window seat as far from her parents as possible. Delphine perched uncomfortably on a dining room chair she'd pulled in. Here's how this works, or Dr. Cross said. Everyone speaks, everyone listens, no interruptions, no defending yourselves. No, but that's not what I meant, or you're remembering it wrong. When someone speaks their truth, you sit with it. You let it hurt. You don't try to make it hurt less. She looked at each person in turn, her gaze sharp and assessing. This family is broken. Simone tried to die 3 times because living in this house felt worse than death. That's not dramatic teenage behavior. That's a symptom of systemic family dysfunction. So we're going to excavate. Dig up everything you've been burying, and it's going to be awful. Everyone ready? Nobody was ready, but they all nodded anyway. Simone, you start. Tell them why you wanted to die. Simone pulled her knees to her chest, made herself smaller. Her voice came out barely above a whisper. Because nobody saw me. I could disappear for days and nobody would notice. I stopped eating and nobody asked if I was okay. I wore long sleeves in summer and nobody wondered why. I wrote about dying in school essays and nobody cared. Louder, Dr. Cross said gently but firmly. They need to hear you. Simone's voice got stronger, anger seeping in alongside the pain. I got straight A's and Dad was never home to see my report card. I made honor roll and Mom was too drunk to remember. I won awards and nobody came to the ceremonies. So I started cutting myself because at least pain was something. At least blood was proof I existed. At least when I hurt myself, I felt real. Cordelia made a small sound, grief or guilt or both. Don't. Dr. Cross said to her without looking away from Simone. Don't make sounds. Don't cry yet. Just listen. Keep going, Simone. Simone reached into her hoodie pocket and pulled out her journal, the one Delphine had found at the hospital. The pages were worn, some stained with tears, others with blood. Dr. Chen asked me to bring this, said I should read parts of it so you'd understand. She flipped to a page marked with a torn piece of paper. This is from 2 weeks before I took the pills. It's my suicide note, the one I was going to leave. Her hands shook holding the journal. Her voice shook reading the words. To my family, I'm sorry I wasn't enough. Dad, I'm sorry I couldn't be the son you wanted. The one who'd take over the business, who'd be brilliant and driven and never need anything from you except approval. Mom, I'm sorry I made you look at your own sadness when you worked so hard to hide it. Marcus, I'm sorry I was too broken to help you when you're drowning too. I tried to be perfect, tried to be invisible, tried to be whatever you needed, but I'm tired of trying. I'm tired of hurting. I'm tired of being alone in a house full of people. Simone's voice broke, but she kept reading. Dad, you chose everything over me. Every business trip, every phone call, every meeting. You chose all of it over spending even 5 minutes actually knowing me. I don't know if you even know my favorite color, my favorite book. What I want to be when I grow up, because you never asked. You just assumed I'd figure it out alone. Vincent's face crumpled. He opened his mouth to speak. No, Dr. Cross said sharply. You don't get to respond yet. Let her finish. Simone turned the page. Mom, you're killing yourself slowly and making me watch. Just like your mother made you watch. You're doing the same thing to me that she did to you. And I hate you for it. I hate that I love you and you're not really here. I hate that I'm losing you to pills and wine. I hate that you chose numbness over being my mother. Cordelia was crying silently now, tears streaming down her face, but she didn't make a sound, didn't interrupt. Simone closed the journal. That's all I can read right now. Dr. Cross turned to Marcus. Your turn. Why do you drink? Marcus had been sober for 6 days, the longest stretch in 2 years. He looked tired, shaky, but present in a way he hadn't been before. Because I'm scared, he said simply. Scared I'll never be as successful as Dad. Scared I'll disappoint everyone. Scared I'm weak because I couldn't handle the pressure. What pressure? Dr. Cross asked. The pressure to be Vincent Whitmore's son, to carry on the legacy, to be brilliant and driven and never fail at anything. He looked at his father. I dropped out of Yale because I was failing. Not just grades. I was failing at being who you needed me to be. I couldn't do it sober, so I started drinking to cope. Then I was drinking to function. Then I was drinking to forget that I was drinking. Vincent finally spoke, his voice wrecked. I never asked you to be me. You didn't have to ask, it was expected. Your son, future CEO, continuing the empire. That's all anyone ever talked about. I wanted you to have choices, Vincent said, his voice defensive despite Dr. Cross's rules about not defending. I built the company so you'd have opportunities. You built the company and forgot to build a relationship with your son, Dr. Cross interrupted. Marcus, tell him what you needed. I needed you to ask me what I wanted, not assume I'd want the business, not push me toward pharmaceutical school, not introduce me to people as my son, future CEO, before I'd even decided what I wanted to study. Marcus's voice got stronger. I liked writing. I was good at it. I wanted to study journalism, maybe write about healthcare policy. But I never told you because I knew you'd be disappointed. I wouldn't have been disappointed. Yes, you would have, because I wouldn't be you. And not being you meant being a failure in the Whitmore family. Marcus leaned forward. Do you know why I drink at breakfast? Because facing the day sober meant facing the fact that I'm 21 years old and I have no idea who I am without your expectations crushing me. Cordelia, Dr. Cross said, what do you resent most about your life? Cordelia looked startled, like she hadn't expected to have to speak. I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do. You resent something about this family, about your marriage, about the role you play. What is it? Cordelia was quiet for a long moment, then quietly. I resent that I became what Greenwich society expected instead of who I wanted to be. I had dreams once, before marriage, before children. I wanted to be a photographer, travel the world, document real life, real people. But Vincent's mother said that wasn't appropriate for a Whitmore wife. So I became this instead, the perfect hostess, the charity queen, the woman who smiles at galas while dying inside. She looked at Vincent. And I resent you for letting me disappear, for never asking if I was happy, for assuming that because you provided money and status, I had everything I needed. I needed a partner, a friend, someone who saw me. Instead, I got a business associate who occasionally slept in the same bed. Vincent looked gutted. I thought you were happy. You never said. I never said because you never asked. When's the last time you asked me how I was feeling? Really feeling? When's the last time we had a conversation that wasn't about schedules or household management or which charity event we needed to attend? I was working to provide for us. We have $4 million a day coming in from the company. We stopped needing money years ago. What we needed was you. What I needed was a husband who was present. The room went silent. Cordelia's outburst hung in the air, years of resentment finally finding voice. Dr. Cross looked at Vincent. Your turn. What do you regret most? Vincent's voice came out broken. All of it. Every choice I made that put work first. Every birthday I missed. Every dinner I skipped. Every moment I chose business over family. He looked at his children. I thought I was building security for you, building a legacy. But I was really just running away from being a father because I didn't know how. Delphine, Dr. Cross turned to her. You've been watching this family for 23 years. What do you see? Delphine hadn't expected to be called on. She was the help, the outsider, the witness. But Simone looked at her with desperate eyes. Tell them, please tell them. So she spoke. I see people who love each other but don't know how to show it. I see a family that has everything material and nothing emotional. I see children who've been drowning while their parents were too busy drowning themselves to notice. She looked at Cordelia. I see a woman who's been running from her mother's suicide for 25 years, medicating pain instead of healing it, and I see that pain poisoning her children. She looked at Vincent. I see a man who measures worth in dollars and deals, who genuinely doesn't understand that his kids would trade every penny for an hour of his undivided attention. She looked at Marcus and Simone. And I see two kids who are smart and talented and beautiful, but who've been taught that their value depends on achievement instead of just existing. Dr. Cross turned back to Simone. There's something else, something you haven't told them yet, about the person online. Simone's face went pale. I don't want to. You have to. Secrets keep you sick. Light heals. Tell them. Simone pulled her knees tighter to her chest. There's someone I've been talking to online for 8 months. His name was Truth-Teller99. He found me in a depression forum, started messaging me, said he understood me, said nobody else would ever get it, but he did. Marcus leaned forward. What kind of forum? A suicide forum where people talk about methods, about what it's like to want to die, about why we're better off gone. Her voice got smaller. He told me I was right to feel how I felt, that my family would be better without me, that I was a burden, that ending it would be doing everyone a favor. Cordelia made a sound like she'd been punched. He'd send me messages every day, sometimes every hour, telling me to cut deeper, take more pills, that I was worthless, that I should finish what I started. That, she stopped, couldn't continue. That what? Dr. Cross prompted gently. That he loved me, that he was the only one who'd ever loved me, that if I really loved him back, I'd prove it by hurting myself. So I did. I cut myself and sent him pictures. I took pills and told him about it. Simone's voice broke completely. I thought he cared about me. I thought someone finally saw me. Marcus stood up abruptly, started pacing. That's not love. That's a predator. Someone who gets off on manipulating vulnerable people. I know that now. Dr. Chen explained it, about how online predators target kids like me, depressed, isolated, desperate for connection. But at the time, he was the only person who seemed to care whether I lived or died. She looked at her parents. He paid more attention to me than you did. The accusation hung heavy. Vincent's voice was barely a whisper. Did he ask you to meet him? Did he try to… No, he stayed online. Dr. Chen said that's common. They don't want to get caught. They just want to watch people suffer. Feed off the pain. He wanted me to die so he could feel powerful. The hospital reported it to police, Dr. Cross said. They're investigating. These forums are monitored now since the laws changed. They'll track him down through IP addresses. Good, Marcus said viciously. I hope they throw him in jail forever. But Simone, Dr. Cross continued, you need to understand something. That man manipulated you, but you went looking for those forums. You sought out places where people encouraged suicide. Why? Simone was crying now, years of pain finally breaking through. Because I wanted permission. I wanted someone to tell me it was okay to give up, that I wasn't crazy for wanting to die, that it wasn't my fault I couldn't be fixed. But you're not broken, Delphine said, her own voice thick with tears. You're hurt. There's a difference. Broken means unfixable. Hurt means healing is possible. What if I don't want to heal? What if it's too hard? Then you do it anyway, Dr. Cross said, because the alternative is death, and death is permanent. Pain is temporary if you're willing to work through it. Everyone in this room has been keeping secrets, Dr. Cross said. Simone, you kept your suicide attempt secret, your cutting secret, your online relationship secret. Marcus, you kept your drinking secret, the extent of it anyway. Cordelia, you kept your addiction secret, your childhood trauma secret, your mother's suicide secret. And Vincent, you kept your absence secret by pretending work was mandatory rather than a choice. She stood up, walked around the room. Secrets in families are like poison in wells. They contaminate everything. You drink from that well every day, getting sicker, but you don't know why because you can't see the poison. Today we've pulled the poison out, exposed it to light, and now that you've seen it, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to pretending everything is fine. She looked at each family member in turn. This is the hardest part, the part after exposure, before healing. This is where most families give up, where they decide the work is too hard, the pain too deep. They go back to their secrets and their silence, and they slowly kill each other with neglect. She paused. Is that what this family's going to do? Nobody spoke for a long moment. The weight of everything that had been said pressed down on the room like physical force. Then Simone spoke, her voice raw but steady. I don't want to die. I want to live. Does that make sense? Perfect sense, Dr. Cross said, but I don't know if I can do it alone. I don't know if I can heal in this house with these people if nothing changes. Vincent stood up, walked over to the window seat where his daughter sat curled up like a child. He knelt in front of her, this man who'd built an empire, now on his knees in front of his daughter. Then we change, all of us, whatever it takes. I'll quit the company if I have to. I'll sell this house. I don't want you to quit, Simone interrupted. I just want you to be my dad. I want you to know me, to ask me about my day and actually listen, to show up. That's all I've ever wanted, just show up. Vincent pulled her into a hug. Simone stiffened at first. They weren't huggers, the Whitmores. But then she collapsed into him, sobbing against his shoulder. Dr. Cross let them sit like that for a moment, then spoke again. Here's what happens next. Simone stays in psychiatric care for another 3 weeks. Intensive therapy daily. Marcus goes to rehab. I have a program in mind that specializes in young adults with family trauma. Cordelia enters a dual diagnosis treatment center that handles both addiction and trauma. And Vincent, you do individual therapy twice a week and commit to being physically present at least 5 days a week. What about family therapy? Cordelia asked. Weekly sessions, every Sunday. No excuses, no travel conflicts, no business emergencies. You all show up or the whole thing falls apart. She gathered her things, prepared to leave. Healing begins when secrets are brought into light. You've done the first part, exposing the secrets. Now comes the hard part. Living differently, being different, choosing each other every single day even when it's uncomfortable. Even when work is calling or pills are calling or alcohol is calling. You choose family. Can you do that? Vincent looked at his wife, his children, then at Delphine. Yes, we can do that. The family therapy session ended at 5 o'clock. Dr. Cross packed her things, confirmed next Sunday's appointment, and left the Whitmores sitting in their living room, exhausted from emotional excavation. Delphine stood up from her chair. "I need to say something." 4 pairs of eyes turned toward her. She'd been quiet for most of the session, speaking only when asked, watching this family crack open and bleed truth all over their expensive furniture. "I'm leaving. For real this time. I can't stay here and watch you all slip back into old patterns. I can't be the person who sees everything and says nothing while you destroy yourselves." "But you said you'd stay." Simone's voice came out panicked, small. "You said you'd be here." "I said I'd stay if things changed, really changed. Not just therapy sessions where you say the right things and then go back to living the same way. I need to see actual change, permanent change, or I'm done." Vincent stood up. "What would it take? For you to stay? Tell us." Delphine looked at each of them in turn. She'd thought about this during the therapy session, while they were all confessing their failures and promising to be better. She'd heard promises before. Rich people were excellent at promising things they never intended to deliver. "You want me to stay? Here are my conditions. Non-negotiable. You break even one? I walk." She turned to Vincent first. "You cut your work schedule in half, immediately. No more 80-hour weeks. No more business trips that last 3 weeks. No more choosing conference calls over family dinners. You work 40 hours maximum. You're home for dinner 5 nights a week. You attend every single therapy session. Simone's, Marcus's, Cordelia's, family sessions, all of it. Your phone gets turned off at 6 p.m. every night." Vincent opened his mouth to protest. "I'm not finished. You also step back from day-to-day operations. Hire a COO. Delegate. Your title can stay CEO, but your actual involvement gets cut in half. Starting Monday." Delphine turned to Cordelia next. "You enter inpatient treatment tomorrow. Not next week. Not when you've gotten your affairs in order. Tomorrow." Dr. Cross has a facility in Connecticut that takes dual diagnosis patients, addiction and trauma together. Minimum 90 days. No leaving early because you're feeling better or because there's some charity event you don't want to miss. Cordelia's face went pale. 90 days. I can't just disappear for 3 months. You've been disappearing for years. At least this time it's for healing instead of hiding. While you're gone, I manage the house, not you. You don't call daily to check on things. You don't try to control what's happening from treatment. You focus entirely on getting well. What about Simone? What about Marcus? What about them? They need a mother who's sober more than they need a mother who's present but high. You can't help them until you help yourself. And that means 90 days, minimum. Possibly longer if the doctors recommend it. Cordelia looked like she might argue, but then just nodded slowly. "Marcus," Delphine's voice softened slightly. "You enter rehab Monday morning. I already talked to Dr. Cross about programs. There's a place in Massachusetts, 30 days inpatient, 90 days outpatient. You do the full program. No checking yourself out early. No drinking the day you get out because you deserve to celebrate." Marcus nodded. He'd been expecting this. "But that's not all. When you finish rehab, you don't come back here and do nothing. You get a job. A real job. Not some made-up position at your dad's company where you show up when you feel like it. A real job where you have to work, have to show up, have to be accountable. Doing what? I don't care. Figure it out. Something that matters to you. Something that uses the writing talent you mentioned. Something that gives your life purpose beyond spending your trust fund on bottle service and hangovers. You're 21 years old. Time to figure out who you are when you're not drunk." "Simone?" Delphine walked over to the window seat, sat down next to the girl who'd been silent since her breakdown. "You're the priority. Everything else comes second. Your healing, your safety, your recovery. That's what matters most. Everyone in this family rearranges their life around you. Not because you're manipulating them, not because you're being selfish, but because you almost died, and keeping you alive takes precedence over business deals and social calendars." Simone looked up, tears in her eyes. "That's not fair to them. Life isn't fair. You didn't ask to be depressed. You didn't ask to have parents who were too broken to see you breaking. So now they step up. They make you the center. They show up for you the way they should have been doing all along. What if I can't get better? What if I'm too broken? Then we work on it together. But you're not alone anymore. That's the difference. Delphine stood up, addressed the whole family again. These aren't suggestions. These aren't goals to work toward. These are requirements. You all do exactly what I've said, starting immediately, or I leave. And when I leave, I'm reporting everything I know to Child Protective Services. The suicide attempts, the addiction, the neglect, the online predator, all of it. You'd report us? Vincent's voice held shock and hurt. To protect Simone? Absolutely. If you're not willing to change, then she's not safe here. And I won't watch another teenage girl die because her family couldn't get their act together. The room went silent. The threat was real. They all knew Delphine well enough to know she meant every word. So what's it going to be? Delphine asked. Real change, or am I packing my things? Vincent looked at Cordelia. Cordelia looked at Marcus. Marcus looked at Simone. Simone looked at Delphine and whispered, Please don't leave. Vincent was the first to speak. We agree, all of it. I'll call the board tomorrow. Tell them I'm stepping back. I'll hire a COO by the end of the week. Work schedule gets cut in half immediately. Cordelia nodded, tears streaming down her face. I'll go to treatment tomorrow, however long it takes. Marcus stood up straighter. I'll do rehab, the full program, and after, I'll find real work. Figure out who I am sober. Simone just nodded, unable to speak through tears. Delphine felt something loosen in her chest. Relief, maybe, or hope. Something she hadn't felt in this house in years. All right then, we have an agreement. She pulled out her phone. Dr. Cross left me the intake number for the treatment center. Cordelia, we need to call them tonight. Get you admitted for tomorrow morning. Vincent, you need to draft an email to your board explaining you're taking a step back. Marcus, start packing. Rehab intake is Monday at 8 a.m. Vincent pulled out his phone, started typing the email to his board. His hands shook slightly. 25 years he'd been building this company. 25 years of 80-hour weeks and sacrifice and choosing business over everything else. Now he was choosing different. His phone rang before he could finish the email. The screen showed Richard Chen, board chairman. Vincent's stomach dropped. Richard never called on Sundays, never called his personal phone. This was bad. He answered. Richard, what's going on? Vincent, we need to talk. The board had an emergency meeting today. There are concerns about your recent behavior, missing the Singapore conference without warning, not responding to emails for 48 hours, rumors about family problems. My daughter was in the hospital. It was a medical emergency. We understand that. But Vincent, we're going public in 6 months. Investors want stability, leadership they can count on. Your absence raises questions. Vincent felt ice in his veins. What are you saying, Richard? The board is considering a vote of no confidence. We need our CEO fully committed. Are you? Vincent looked around the living room. At Cordelia, who'd just agreed to 90 days of treatment. At Marcus, who'd finally admitted he was an alcoholic. At Simone, who tried to die 3 times because her father was never home. At Delphine, who was giving him one chance to choose right. Richard, I'm stepping back from day-to-day operations, cutting my hours in half. I'm hiring a COO to handle. Absolutely not. Vincent, if you step back now, right before the IPO, the board will vote you out. I'm calling as a friend to warn you. You need to double down, not pull back. Show investors you're all in. My family needs me. Your family has needed you for years. They can wait 6 more months. Get through the IPO, secure the company's future, then take time off. But not now. Not when everything we've built is on the line. Vincent felt the trap closing around him. Choose the company or choose his family. The exact choice that had destroyed them in the first place. Vincent hung up the phone. Everyone was staring at him. What did he say? Cordelia asked quietly. The board is threatening to vote me out if I step back. They want me all in for the IPO. 6 more months of full time, then I can take a break. But that's not what you promised, Simone said, her voice small and scared. You said you'd change now, not in 6 months. Vincent looked at his daughter, really looked at her, saw the fear in her eyes, the fear that he'd choose business again, that nothing had really changed, that all the promises were just words. Change requires sacrifice, Delphine said quietly, not just intention. Anyone can intend to be better, can promise to change, but until you're willing to sacrifice something you value, the change isn't real. Vincent understood what she was saying. He'd intended to be a better father for years, promised himself he'd spend more time at home once this deal closed, once that merger finished, once the company stabilized, but there was always another deal, always another reason to wait. "You're right," Vincent said to Delphine. Then he looked at his family. "The company wants me all in. They want me to choose them over you. Again." Simone's face started to crumble. "But I'm not going to do that. I'm choosing you. I'm choosing this family. And if that means the board votes me out, then that's what happens." He picked up his phone, called Richard back, put it on speaker so everyone could hear. "Richard, it's Vincent. I've made my decision. I'm stepping back effective immediately, cutting my hours in half, hiring a COO. If the board wants to vote me out, that's their right. But my family comes first. Not in 6 months. Not after the IPO. Now." There was a long pause. "Vincent, you're making a mistake. This will cost you everything you've built." "No, what I've been doing was costing me everything that matters. This is me finally getting my priorities straight. The board meets Tuesday, right? I'll have my formal proposal ready. They can vote however they want, but I'm done choosing business over my children." He hung up. The living room was silent. Vincent sat down heavily, like the phone call had taken every ounce of energy he had. "I might lose the company. The board might vote me out. The IPO might fall apart. I could lose billions. But you'll still have us," Marcus said quietly. "If you'd chosen the company again, you'd have lost us. For good this time." Vincent nodded, tears in his eyes. "Yeah, I finally figured that out." Cordelia moved to sit next to him, took his hand. It was the first time Delphine had seen them touch voluntarily in years. "We'll figure it out. Even if you lose the company, we'll be okay. We have more money than we could ever spend. What we didn't have was you." Simone uncurled from the window seat, walked over to her father. She didn't say anything, just climbed into his lap like she was 7 years old again and put her head on his shoulder. Vincent held his daughter and cried. Not quiet tears, loud, messy, broken open crying. The kind that comes when you finally stop running. Delphine watched this broken family start to piece itself back together. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't neat, but it was real. "All right," she said after giving them a moment. "We have work to do. Cordelia, let's call that treatment center. Vincent, you need to finish that email to your board. Marcus, start packing. Simone, Patricia the nurse will be here in an hour to go over your medication and safety protocols." Everyone nodded, grateful for direction, for someone telling them what to do next. As the family dispersed to their tasks, Vincent stopped Delphine in the hallway. "Thank you for not giving up on us, for making me choose. I didn't make you choose. I just gave you a reason to. Your family was always here, waiting for you to see them. What if the board votes me out? What if I lose everything? You won't lose everything. You might lose a title and some stock options, but you'll keep what matters. That's the sacrifice. That's what change costs." Day 3 of Cordelia's inpatient treatment, she called Vincent screaming, "Get me out of here. They won't give me anything for the anxiety. I can't breathe. I need my pills. Vincent, please, I'm dying." Vincent sat in the Whitmore living room, phone pressed to his ear, Delphine standing nearby in case he needed support. His hands shook holding the phone. "The doctors said this would happen," he said, voice steady despite the shaking. "The withdrawal, it gets worse before it gets better. I can't do this. It's too hard. My skin feels like it's crawling off my body. My heart won't stop racing. Please just bring me one Xanax, just one." "No," Cordelia sobbed on the other end. "You don't understand what this feels like." "You're right, I don't. But the doctors do. And they say you have to get through this to get better. So you stay. You fight through it. I'll be there for visiting hours Sunday." He hung up before she could argue more, then put his head in his hands and cried. Vincent's first week working 40 hours instead of 80 was torture. He'd arrive at the office at 8, leave at 4. His phone would blow up the moment he walked out the door, emails marked urgent, text messages from executives who forgot he was stepping back, voicemails about decisions that needed making right now. The new COO, Jennifer Park, was brilliant. Stanford MBA, 15 years in pharmaceutical management. Exactly who they needed. But Vincent couldn't stop micromanaging her. "I've got this," or she'd say patiently, when he'd call at 6 p.m. with, "Just a quick question." "I know, I just wanted to make sure." "Vincent, you hired me to do this job. Let me do it." He'd hang up, stare at his phone, resist calling back. At home, he'd pace, check his email every 5 minutes, wake up at 3 a.m. thinking about problems he used to solve immediately, but now had to wait until morning to address. "This is harder than I thought," he admitted to Delphine one evening. "Most addictions are." Tuesday morning, the board voted. Vincent sat in his home office waiting for Richard's call. Simone sat with him. She'd asked to be there, said she needed to see him choose them even when it cost everything. The phone rang at 10:47 a.m. "Vincent, it's Richard. The vote was 7-4. You're out as CEO effective immediately." Vincent felt the words like physical blows. 25 years, gone. "I understand. You can stay on the board if you want. Keep your stock. But day-to-day operations transfer to Jennifer. The board feels she's better positioned to lead us through the IPO." "That's fair. Vincent, are you okay?" He looked at Simone, who was watching him with scared eyes, waiting to see if he'd break, if he'd regret choosing them. "Yeah, I'm okay. I made the right choice." He hung up. Simone climbed into his lap, 17 years old but needing comfort like a child. "I'm sorry, Dad." "Don't be. I'd make the same choice again." And he meant it. Marcus's rehab facility didn't allow phone calls for the first 2 weeks. Communication blackout. No contact with family, no access to news. Nothing from the outside world. Just you and your addiction and the work of getting sober. The letter he sent during week 2 arrived on a Tuesday. "Dad, I haven't been sober this long since I was 16. 14 days. It doesn't sound like much, but it feels like climbing a mountain in flip-flops. They make us talk here. Really talk, not the surface stuff. I had to stand in group yesterday and say out loud, 'I'm Marcus and I'm an alcoholic.' First time I've said those words. First time I've admitted it's not just partying or stress relief. It's addiction. It's a disease. It's killing me." I think about Simone a lot, about how we were both drowning in that house, using different substances, but dying the same way. I think about how I could have helped her if I'd been sober enough to see past my own problems. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her I'm trying. M. Vincent read the letter 3 times, tears in his eyes. Simone's therapist was a woman named Dr. Yuki Tanaka, who specialized in adolescent trauma and online exploitation. She came to the house 3 times a week. Patricia, the psychiatric nurse, sat in on the first few sessions, then gradually gave them privacy as Simone stabilized. "Tell me about Truth Teller 99, Dr. Tanaka said during their second week of sessions. "How did he make you feel?" Simone picked at the blanket on her bed. "Seen. He made me feel seen." "What did he see?" "How much I was hurting, how invisible I felt, how nobody in my family noticed I was disappearing." She paused. "He said he understood, said his family didn't care either, said we were the same." "Did he tell you about himself? His real life?" "No. He said personal details didn't matter. Said what mattered was our connection, our understanding. He said I was special, that he'd been watching me in the forum for weeks before he messaged me, that he chose me because I was different from the others. That's called grooming, Simone. He wasn't your friend," Dr. Tanaka continued gently. "He was a predator who found a vulnerable girl and exploited her pain for his entertainment. But he listened to me. He responded to my messages within minutes. He love-bombed you, made you feel special so you'd be dependent on his attention. Then he used that dependency to manipulate you into hurting yourself. That's not care. That's abuse." Simone was crying now. "Why did I believe him? Why was I so stupid?" "You weren't stupid. You were desperate, lonely, hurting, and he weaponized that. He knew exactly what to say to hook you. These people study vulnerable kids. They know the patterns. They know lonely teenagers will do almost anything for attention from someone who seems to understand them. The police said they traced his IP. He's 37 years old, lives in Oregon, has been doing this for years, multiple victims. Simone felt sick. He said he was 18. They always lie about their age. Delphine became the family's anchor point, the person who held everything together while everyone else fell apart and rebuilt. She drove Simone to therapy appointments, attended Vincent's therapy sessions when the therapist requested family input, visited Cordelia during treatment center visiting hours, wrote letters to Marcus in rehab because he was allowed to receive mail even during communication blackout. She managed the house staff, reduced now because Vincent was home more and didn't need as much help. She coordinated with Patricia about Simone's medications. She fielded phone calls from Vincent's business associates who didn't understand why he wasn't available 24/7 anymore. She also watched for backsliding, the way Vincent's hand would drift toward his phone during dinner, the way Simone would stare at her laptop sometimes, that look in her eyes that said she was thinking about seeking out those forums again, the way the house felt fragile, like one wrong move could shatter all the progress they'd made. Change was happening, but it was slow, messy. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Marcus completed his 30-day inpatient program on a Wednesday. Vincent and Delphine picked him up from the facility in Massachusetts. Simone wanted to come, but her therapist said not yet. Too much stimulation too soon after her own crisis. Marcus looked different, thinner. Turned out he'd been consuming most of his calories through alcohol. His skin was clearer, his eyes were brighter, present in a way they hadn't been in years. But he was shaky, nervous. The counselors had warned them, the real test wasn't staying sober in a controlled facility. It was staying sober in the real world, with access to alcohol, with old triggers, with the stress of normal life. "I'm scared," Marcus admitted in the car ride home. "What if I can't do this outside the facility? What if I see my old friends and they're drinking and I just give in?" "Then you call your sponsor," Vincent said, "or you call me, or you call Delphine, or you go to a meeting. You have options now. You didn't before. What if the options aren't enough? Then we find more options." The deal had been, after rehab, real work, not a made-up position at the pharmaceutical company. Real work that gave him purpose. Marcus enrolled in community college, starting with just 2 classes. Introduction to Journalism and Psychology 101. Baby steps toward figuring out who he was sober. He also got a job at the Greenwich Youth Center, 20 hours a week, minimum wage, helping run after-school programs for at-risk teenagers. His supervisor, a woman named Carmen who'd been doing youth work for 15 years, looked at his application and said, "You're a Whitmore. Why do you want to work here for $12 an hour?" "Because I need to figure out who I am when I'm not hiding behind money and alcohol, and because my sister almost died. I want to help kids like her. Kids who are drowning and nobody sees them." Carmen studied him for a long moment. "Okay, but if you treat this like a hobby, if you show up late or quit when it gets hard, you're done. These kids deserve people who show up." "I'll show up." The first kid Marcus really connected with was a 15-year-old girl named Jasmine. She reminded him painfully of Simone. Thin, quiet, long sleeves even in warm weather, eyes that looked older than her face. She'd shown up to the youth center on a Tuesday, sat in the corner during the group session about mental health, said nothing until everyone else left. Then she'd approach Marcus. "You're new here. 2nd week. You seem different than the other volunteers. They all want to fix us, make us happy, save us." She said it with bitter humor. "You just sit with us." "I don't know how to fix anyone. My sister tried to kill herself 3 months ago. My mom's in rehab. I'm 2 months sober. I'm barely fixing myself." Jasmine looked at him with something like recognition. "Does it get better? The wanting to die part?" Marcus thought about Simone, about the slow, painful progress she was making. "I don't know yet, but my sister's still fighting, so I guess that means it can get better, if you keep fighting." Week 4. Vincent was cleaning out his home office, boxing up files from his CEO tenure, when he found a folder marked Confidential Clinical Trials 2019. He almost threw it in the recycling. Then something made him open it. Inside were reports about adverse effects from one of their company's anxiety medications, the same medication Cordelia had been prescribed. The same one Simone had been taking before Cordelia started stealing her pills. The reports detailed severe side effects, increased suicidal ideation in adolescents, paradoxical anxiety, dissociation, memory problems. The company's own researchers had documented these effects 3 years ago, and the reports had been buried, not discontinued, not investigated, buried, hidden from FDA review, minimized in published studies. The drug stayed on the market because it was profitable, generated roughly $200 million a year in revenue. Vincent felt sick. He grabbed his phone, called Jennifer Park. "Jennifer, it's Vincent. I need you to pull all files related to Anxaloft. Clinical trials, adverse event reports, everything." "Why? That's our third bestseller." "Because I think we've been hiding safety problems. And I think that medication contributed to my daughter's suicide attempts." The next day, Vincent sat in his living room with a team of lawyers, Jennifer, and outside clinical experts. They reviewed every document related to Anxaloft. The picture that emerged was damning. Multiple research studies showing increased suicide risk in teenagers, reports from doctors about adverse reactions, internal memos discussing whether to report the findings to the FDA. A decision made by the executive team 3 years ago to minimize the data, to report the bare minimum required by law, to keep the drug on the market. Vincent had signed off on some of those decisions. Not all. He'd been traveling, let other executives handle it, but enough. He'd prioritized profit over safety, the medication his wife and daughter had been taking. The medication that might have contributed to Simone's suicide attempts and Cordelia's worsening addiction. "We need to pull the drug," Vincent said. "Immediately. Voluntarily recall it before the FDA forces us." "That's $200 million in annual revenue," one of the lawyers protested. "The stock price will crash. The IPO will fail. You could face lawsuits." "I don't care, we pull it, today." Vincent had to tell them, had to explain that the medication they'd been taking, the medication prescribed to help them, might have been making them worse. He told Simone first. She sat in her bedroom, Patricia nearby, as her father explained what he'd discovered. "You mean the pills were supposed to help my anxiety, but they were making me want to die?" Her voice was small, confused. "We don't know for sure, but the research suggests they can increase suicidal thoughts in some teenagers. Your doctors will need to evaluate whether that happened with you. But yes, it's possible the medication made things worse." "Did you know when you gave me that prescription?" "No. God, no, I didn't know. The company buried the research, but I signed off on some of the decisions that kept it buried. So I'm responsible. I'm so sorry, sweetheart." Simone looked at him with something between anger and sadness. "You almost killed me trying to make money." "Yes, and I have to live with that. But I'm fixing it now. We're pulling the drug. No one else will be hurt by it." Visiting Cordelia at the treatment center was harder. She was in her 4th week, past the worst of withdrawal but still fragile, still working through trauma. Vincent explained about Anxaloft, about the buried research, about how the medication she'd been taking for 3 years might have been fueling her addiction, making her anxiety worse instead of better. Cordelia listened quietly. Then, "How long did you know the research existed?" "I found it 2 days ago. As soon as I found it, I started the recall." "No. How long did the company know? When did executives first see the reports about suicide risk?" Vincent hesitated. 3 years ago." 3 years? Her voice went cold. "The company knew for 3 years that the drug could make people suicidal and kept selling it while I was taking it, while Simone was taking it, while we were both falling apart." "Cordelia, get out. I need to process this with my therapist. Get out." Vincent left. The damage just kept spreading. That night, the whole family gathered in the living room. Simone, Vincent, Marcus, fresh from a day at the youth center, and Delphine. Cordelia was still at treatment. They FaceTimed her so she could be part of the conversation. "This is what real transformation looks like," Delphine said. "It's not clean. It's not linear. You don't just decide to change and everything gets better. You decide to change and then you discover new problems, New failures, new ways you hurt each other that you didn't even know about. I poisoned my family, Vincent said, his voice broken. I chose profit over their safety. I'm the reason Simone wanted to die. I'm the reason Cordelia's addiction got worse. It's all my fault. No, Simone said quietly. The drug made things worse, but I was suicidal before I started taking it. The problems were already there. The medication didn't create them. It just made them harder to manage. She's right, Dr. Tanaka said. She'd stayed late for this family meeting. The drug likely exacerbated existing conditions, but it didn't cause the core issues. Marcus spoke up. At rehab, they told us recovery isn't a straight line. You get better, then worse, then better again. You make progress and then have setbacks. The point isn't to be perfect. It's to keep moving forward even when you fall back. Exactly, Delphine said. You've all made incredible progress this month. Cordelia's almost through withdrawal. Marcus is sober 34 days. Vincent's working 40 hours a week and actually present at home. Simone's doing therapy 3 times a week and hasn't hurt herself in a month. That's real change. But we also discovered that Vincent's company was poisoning people, Cordelia said from the FaceTime screen. That's not progress. That's uncovering new damage. It's both, Dr. Tanaka said. It's progress because you're facing it instead of hiding from it. You're taking accountability, making it right. That's what transformation looks like. It's messy and painful and full of setbacks, but you keep going anyway. The family sat with that truth. Change was possible, but it wasn't easy, and it was never finished. The call came on a Thursday morning, 6 weeks after Simone's hospitalization. Vincent was making breakfast, still getting used to morning routines, still learning what his kids like to eat. Simone wanted eggs scrambled with cheese. Marcus preferred oatmeal with fruit. Small details he'd missed for 17 and 21 years. His phone rang. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. Mr. Whitmore, this is Derek Hastings from the National Observer. I'm working on a story about your family and I'd like to give you a chance to comment before we publish. Vincent's blood went cold. What story? About your daughter Simone's suicide attempt, the hospitalization at Greenwich Hospital on March 12th, the subsequent psychiatric hold. We also have information about an altercation between your wife and your domestic employee at the hospital. And we understand you were recently voted out as CEO of Whitmore Pharmaceuticals. I'd like to get your side of things. Vincent set down the spatula. Eggs burning in the pan, forgotten. How did you get this information? I protect my sources. Will you comment? Vincent hung up, called his lawyer immediately. Michael Santos had been the Whitmore family attorney for 15 years. He'd handled business deals, NDAs. That time Marcus got arrested. He knew how to make problems disappear. Michael, we have a situation. He explained the call, the journalist, the story threatening to break. I can shut this down, Michael said immediately. The hospital staff who leaked it violated HIPAA. We can threaten legal action. The journalist publication doesn't want that fight. I can also reach out to the editor, remind them that Whitmore Pharmaceuticals spends significant advertising money with their parent company. They'll kill the story. Vincent looked at Simone, who'd wandered into the kitchen, drawn by the smell of burning eggs. She looked worried. She could tell something was wrong. What if I don't want to suppress it? Vincent asked, silence on the other end. I'm sorry, what? What if we tell the truth, on our terms, before they can spin it their way? Vincent, are you insane? This will destroy your family's reputation, your privacy, everything. Vincent called an emergency family meeting. Everyone, Simone, Marcus, Delphine. They FaceTimed Cordelia at the treatment center. Even Patricia the nurse sat in, since Simone's care was affected by whatever they decided. A tabloid has our story, Simone's suicide attempt, the slap at the hospital, me being voted out as CEO. They're going to publish unless we stop them. Can we stop them? Marcus asked. The lawyer says yes. Threaten legal action, pressure the publication through business connections. Make it go away like we've made other problems go away. Simone looked sick. Everyone's going to know I tried to kill myself. Only if we let them publish, Vincent said. Or what? Cordelia asked from the screen. Or we tell the story ourselves, honestly, before they can sensationalize it. We control the narrative instead of hiding from it. The room went quiet. You mean go public? Marcus's voice held disbelief. Tell everyone our family is a disaster? That mom's in rehab and Simone tried to die and I'm an alcoholic? Yes, that's exactly what I mean. I can't. Simone's voice came out panicked. I can't have everyone know. Everyone at school, everyone in Greenwich, everyone my age on social media. They'll all know I'm the girl who couldn't handle her life, who was so weak she tried to kill herself. They'll never see me as anything else. Dr. Tanaka, who'd arrived mid-meeting at Delphine's request, spoke up. Simone, what if telling your story helps other kids? Kids who are where you were, who think they're alone? I don't care about other kids. I care about surviving my own life without everyone knowing my worst moments. I understand, but consider this. The story's coming out whether you want it to or not. The only question is whether it's the tabloids version, sensationalized, probably inaccurate, designed to get clicks, or your version, the truth. They'll say I did it for attention. They'll say rich people have no right to be depressed. Simone was spiraling, anxiety taking over. Delphine moved to sit beside her. Breathe, baby, just breathe. Nobody's making you do anything. Marcus surprised everyone by speaking up. I think we should tell our story. All eyes turned to him. At rehab, we had to do this thing called radical honesty. Stop hiding who we are. Stop pretending we're fine. Just be honest about being broken and working to heal. It was terrifying, but it also meant I wasn't carrying secrets anymore. I could just exist. He looked at Simone. If we hide this, we're back to the old way. Pretending everything's perfect. Using money and lawyers to make problems disappear. That's what got us here in the first place. Pretending instead of being real. But everyone will judge us, Simone said. Yeah, they will. Some people will be cruel. Some will mock us. Some will say we're privileged and shouldn't complain. But maybe some people, the ones who matter, will see that we're just humans who almost destroyed ourselves trying to maintain an image. Maybe that helps someone. Cordelia spoke from the screen. I vote we go public. Tell the truth. I'm tired of hiding. Vincent looked around the room. We vote. If even one person says no, we suppress the story and maintain privacy. But if we all agree, we tell the truth publicly, on our terms. I vote yes, Cordelia said. Tell the truth. Yes, Marcus said. Time to stop hiding. Everyone looked at Simone. The story was mostly about her. She had the most to lose. She was quiet for a long time. Then, if I say no, that journalist still writes the story. He just writes his version instead of ours, right? Probably, Vincent admitted. Then I'd rather it be our version. At least then it's true. At least then it's not some stranger making up details about the worst moment of my life. She took a shaky breath. I vote yes. But I don't want to do interviews. I can't answer questions about it. Not yet. You don't have to. I'll do the interview. I'll take responsibility. This is my story to tell. About my failures, my family, my choices. You're a minor. You get privacy. Vincent spent the next 3 days preparing. He worked with a crisis communications expert, a therapist, and Delphine, who had the clearest view of what had really happened. He decided against the National Observer. Instead, he arranged an interview with Jessica Chen from the Wall Street Journal. Serious journalist, known for fair coverage, someone who'd tell the story honestly instead of sensationalizing it. The interview would cover everything. Simone's suicide attempts, his absence as a father, Cordelia's addiction, Marcus's alcoholism, the decision to step back from the CEO role, the discovery about Anxiloft hiding safety data, the voluntary drug recall, everything, complete transparency. His lawyers hated it. You're opening yourself up to lawsuits. Shareholders will use this interview as evidence of mismanagement. Your reputation will be destroyed. My reputation was built on lies, on pretending I had it all together while my family fell apart. Maybe it's time for a reputation built on truth instead. Michael Sanos looked at him like he'd lost his mind. Truth doesn't make money, Vincent. No, but it might save my family. The interview happened in the Whitmore living room, the same room where they'd had family therapy. Jessica Chen sat across from Vincent, recorder running, asking questions that cut straight to the truth. "Mr. Whitmore, why are you doing this interview?" "Most families in your position would pay to keep this private." "Because my family almost destroyed itself in maintaining privacy. We hid problems instead of fixing them. We protected our image while our children were dying inside. I'm done with that." "Your daughter attempted suicide 3 times. You were unaware of the first 2 attempts. How does a parent miss that?" Vincent's voice broke. "By not being present, by prioritizing work over family, by assuming that providing money meant providing love. I was building a pharmaceutical empire while my daughter was planning her death. I failed her. Completely." "You were recently voted out as CEO. Is that connected to these family issues?" "Yes, I told the board I was cutting my work schedule in half to focus on my family. They wanted someone fully committed to the company. I chose my family. The board chose someone else. I'd make the same choice again." "Let's talk about the drug recall, Anxiloft. Your company voluntarily pulled a medication that generated $200 million annually. Why?" "Because we discovered the company had buried research showing the drug increased suicide risk in adolescents. My daughter was taking that medication when she attempted suicide. So was my wife, who was battling addiction to anxiety medications. We prioritized profit over safety. I prioritized profit over my family's safety. That's unforgivable." "Are you saying Whitmore Pharmaceuticals knowingly kept a dangerous drug on the market?" "I'm saying we minimized safety concerns to protect revenue. Whether that rises to the level of criminal behavior, regulators will decide. But ethically, we failed. I failed." Jessica leaned forward. "You're potentially exposing yourself to massive legal liability with these admissions. Your lawyers must be having heart attacks right now." Vincent almost smiled. "They are. But I'm tired of protecting myself at everyone else's expense. The truth is the truth. Whatever consequences come from telling it, I'll face them." "Why now? Why this level of honesty when you could still suppress the story?" "Because my 17-year-old daughter looked me in the eye and asked if keeping our reputation was worth her life. And I finally understood the answer was no. Nothing is worth that. Not money, not power, not privacy, not our carefully maintained image of the perfect family." The interview published 3 days later. Front page of the Wall Street Journal. "Billionaire's confession, how success nearly killed my family. Vincent's full admission of failure, the suicide attempts, the addictions, the neglect, the corporate corruption, everything laid bare. Within hours, it was everywhere. Twitter trending, Reddit discussions, think pieces about privilege and mental health, cable news debates about pharmaceutical company ethics, TikTok videos analyzing the family dynamics. The Whitmore mansion was surrounded by news vans within 12 hours. Photographers camped outside the gates, reporters shouting questions whenever anyone came or went. Simone's school was flooded with media requests. Marcus's community college classmates recognized him from the article. The youth center asked him to take a leave of absence. Too much attention, too disruptive for the kids. The world was watching. And not everyone was sympathetic. Social media was brutal. "Rich people problems. Try being depressed without millions in the bank." This is what happens when you give privileged kids everything. They're so bored they try to die for attention. "The maid slapped his wife and he's painting her as a hero? That's assault. She should be in jail." Poor billionaire had to step down as CEO to spend time with his family. Meanwhile, we're all working 3 jobs to survive. Cry me a river. This is a PR stunt. They're trying to get ahead of the Anxiloft lawsuits by playing the sympathy card. Marcus showed Simone some of the comments. Dr. Tanaka immediately confiscated both their phones. "No social media, not for a while. People are cruel when they feel anonymous." But the damage was done. Simone saw herself reduced to spoiled rich girl who tried to kill herself for attention. Marcus became trust fund alcoholic. Cordelia was pill-popping society wife. Vincent was either brave for telling the truth or desperate CEO trying to avoid prosecution. Nobody saw them as people, just characters in a story. But not all the response was negative. Hundreds of messages came through the Whitmore Pharmaceuticals website. Parents thanking Vincent for speaking out. Teenagers saying Simone's story made them feel less alone. Doctors praising the voluntary drug recall. Mental health advocates calling Vincent's interview a watershed moment for destigmatizing family dysfunction. A handwritten letter arrived from a woman in Ohio. My daughter tried to kill herself last year. She was on Anxaloft. When I read your interview, I finally understood it wasn't entirely our fault. The medication was making her worse. We thought we were helping by keeping her on it. Thank you for having the courage to expose the truth. You saved other families even if you couldn't save your own sooner. Vincent read that letter 3 times, then cried. Maybe this is worth it, he said to Delphine. If even one family gets help because we were honest about our mess? Maybe, Delphine said. Or maybe you're just learning that doing the right thing doesn't always feel good. Simone had to return to school eventually. She'd been out 6 weeks. Hospital, psychiatric hold, intensive outpatient therapy. Her teachers had sent work home. She'd kept up with assignments through Patricia's supervision. But walking back into Greenwich Academy after the Wall Street Journal article was like walking into enemy territory. Some kids were supportive, girls who'd struggled with depression themselves, who saw Simone's story and felt less alone. They left notes in her locker, sent encouraging texts, invited her to sit with them at lunch. But others were vicious. Attention seeker, fake suicide for sympathy. Daddy bought her way out of consequences. Someone created a fake Instagram account called Poor Little Rich Girl that posted memes mocking her suicide attempts. The school shut down the account, held an assembly about cyberbullying, but the damage was done. Simone came home after her 3rd day back, went straight to her room, and didn't come out for dinner. Delphine found her lying on her bed, staring at the ceiling. I made a mistake, Simone whispered. Going public was a mistake. Now everyone knows and everyone judges, and I can't take it back. No, Delphine said firmly. You didn't make a mistake. The world is cruel sometimes, people are judgmental, but that doesn't mean telling the truth was wrong. I'm the suicide girl now. That's all anyone sees. Not Simone, who likes photography and writes poetry and wants to study environmental science. Just the girl who tried to kill herself. That's my identity forever. Delphine sat on the edge of the bed. Right now, yes. That's what people see because the story is fresh. But time passes. People move on to the next scandal, and eventually you'll be known for who you become, not what happened to you. What if I can't become anything but this? Then you prove them wrong. You survive, you heal. You help other kids who are where you were. You turn your worst moment into something meaningful. That's how you take your identity back. I don't know if I'm strong enough. You survived 3 suicide attempts and your family falling apart. You're stronger than you think. Simone turned to look at her. Are you sure we did the right thing? Authenticity is powerful, Delphine said, but it's not comfortable. It comes with judgment, with criticism, with people who don't understand projecting their own issues onto your story. She pulled out her phone, showed Simone some of the messages that had come to her, because apparently the heroic maid who slapped the billionaire's wife had become part of the story too. Messages calling her a saint, others calling her abusive, some saying she overstepped, others saying she saved the family. Nobody agreeing on what she'd done right or wrong. See, everyone has an opinion. Everyone thinks they know what happened, what it meant, what we should have done differently, but they weren't in that hospital. They weren't watching your mama prioritize reputation over your life. They get to judge from a distance because their lives aren't on display. So how do you deal with it? I remember why I did it. Not for them, not for approval, because it was true, because you needed someone to wake your family up, and I was the only one there to do it. The truth matters more than public opinion. Simone nodded slowly. I just wish the truth didn't hurt this much. That evening, the whole family gathered again. Cordelia was home now. She'd completed the 90-day program, was living in the guest house with daily outpatient therapy and 12-step meetings. They sat together in the living room that had seen so much pain and healing. Delphine made tea. Patricia monitored Simone's medications. Everyone looked exhausted from public scrutiny. We knew this would be hard, Vincent said. We knew people would judge, but we're in this together. We don't face the criticism alone. Marcus showed them a message he'd received from Jasmine, the girl from the youth center. Your story made my parents finally listen when I told them I was depressed. They got me a therapist. Thank you for being honest, even when it was hard. That's why we did it, Cordelia said quietly. Not for the people who judge, for the people it helps. They sat together in uncomfortable solidarity. A family learning that doing the right thing doesn't always feel good, but it was still right. 2 weeks after the Wall Street Journal interview, the full professional consequences hit. Vincent's remaining board seat was revoked by unanimous vote. His stock options, worth roughly $400 million, were restructured with penalties that cut their value in half. 3 separate class action lawsuits were filed by Anxelof patients, claiming the drug caused suicidal ideation. The SEC opened an investigation into whether the company deliberately hid safety data. Vincent sat in his lawyer's office, reviewing documents that detailed the destruction of everything he'd spent 25 years building. You still have significant wealth, Michael said, trying to find a silver lining. The lawsuits might settle. The SEC might not find criminal intent. You're not ruined, Vincent, just significantly damaged. I know. You don't seem upset. Vincent looked up from the papers. I'm not. I chose my family over my company. This is the cost. I knew it would be expensive. I just didn't realize how expensive. Most men would be devastated losing what you've lost. Most men haven't watched their daughter try to die 3 times. Changes your perspective on what actually matters. Cordelia came home from 90 days of treatment, sober, clear-eyed, and terrified. The Greenwich community she'd once ruled, the charity committees, the country club, the society luncheons, now viewed her with a mixture of pity and judgment, the woman who'd had everything and almost lost it all to pill bottles and wine glasses. Her first week back, she ran into Margaret Ashford at the grocery store. Margaret, who'd co-chaired the hospital gala with her for 5 years, who'd had brunch with her monthly, who'd been something close to a friend. Margaret looked at Cordelia, looked away quickly, mumbled something about being late for an appointment, and practically ran. Cordelia stood in the produce section, holding organic kale she didn't even want, feeling more alone than she'd felt in treatment. She called her sponsor from the parking lot. Everyone's staring. Everyone knows. I can't do this. I can't face them. You can. You're sober 93 days. You're facing your trauma. You're rebuilding your family. What they think doesn't matter. It feels like it matters. That's the disease talking. Drive home. Go to your meeting tonight. Don't pick up. At her 12-step meeting that evening, Cordelia saw 2 women from Greenwich, people she'd known socially but never well. They didn't whisper. They didn't stare. They just nodded in recognition and kept sharing about their own struggles. After the meeting, one of them approached. Linda Chen, wife of a hedge fund manager. Cordelia had seen her at galas, but they'd never really talked. I read the article about your family, Linda said. It was brave. My daughter struggled with anxiety too. We didn't talk about it because, well, you know how Greenwich is. Everything has to look perfect. Is she okay now? She's managing. Therapy helps. Medication that actually works helps. Linda paused. I just wanted to say thank you. For being honest, made me feel less alone. Cordelia felt something shift. Maybe not everyone was judging. Maybe some people understood. But then she went to the country club, still had her membership, though Vincent had resigned from the board, and felt every eye in the dining room follow her. Heard conversations stop when she walked past. She left before ordering, cried in the car for 20 minutes. Marcus ran into his college friends at a bar in downtown Greenwich. He was picking up takeout dinner, sober 4 months now, staying away from places that served alcohol, but this Thai restaurant happened to be next to a popular bar. Through the window, he saw them. Connor, Tyler, Brad, guys he'd partied with at Yale, who'd been there for every blackout, every bad decision, every morning after. They saw him too, came outside, drunk and loud. Whitmore, dude, we heard you're working at a youth center now. For like $12 an hour, Connor laughed. What happened to the guy who was buying bottle service every weekend? I got sober, went to rehab, changed my life. Rehab? Tyler smirked. Come on, man, everyone parties in college. You weren't that bad. I was an alcoholic, still am. Just sober now. That's dramatic. You just needed to moderate, not quit completely. Brad held up his beer. Come have one drink. For old times' sake. You can control it. Marcus looked at the beer, felt the pull, the familiar warmth of saying yes, of being who he used to be, of not having to be different anymore. No thanks, I'm good. One beer won't kill you. Actually, it might. I'm an alcoholic. One beer becomes 10. 10 becomes blacking out. Blacking out becomes waking up not knowing what I did or who I hurt. So no, I'm good. Connor's smile faded. You're really doing this? The whole sober thing? The minimum wage job? You're serious? Yeah, I'm serious. Dude, you're a Whitmore. You could be doing anything. And you're choosing to work with troubled kids for $12 an hour? That's pathetic. Something in Marcus snapped. You know what's pathetic? Spending your 20s drunk and empty, having everything and feeling nothing. That's pathetic. I'd rather make $12 an hour and actually matter to someone than make millions doing nothing meaningful. He grabbed his takeout and walked away. His hands shook, his heart pounded. He wanted to go back, wanted to prove he could have just one drink, wanted to be normal, but he kept walking. Called his sponsor from the car. I need to talk. Now. Simone's return to school got worse before it got better. Someone photoshopped her face onto a grave and posted it with the caption, "Attention, dead inside." Another student asked her loudly in the hallway if she was planning to try again or if 3 times was enough. A junior she'd never even spoken to came up during lunch and said, "My dad says your family is suing his company because you're too weak to handle life." Her therapist said these reactions said more about the students than about her, that people were uncomfortable with mental illness and expressed that discomfort through cruelty. That didn't make it hurt less. By Friday of her second week back, Simone came home, went straight to her room and texted Dr. Tanaka, "I can't do this anymore. I want to quit school. I want to disappear. I want to go back to not existing." Dr. Tanaka called immediately. "What happened?" Simone told her. The photoshopped grave, the cruel questions, the constant staring. "You want to quit?" "Yes." "Okay, let's talk about what quitting looks like and what staying looks like. Both have consequences." That night, another family meeting, but this one wasn't planned by Dr. Cross. It happened organically when everyone was sitting in the living room, exhausted from fighting their individual battles. Vincent spoke first. "I want to quit. Move somewhere nobody knows us. Start over where there's no judgment, no lawsuits, no photographers outside our gate." Cordelia nodded. "I want to quit too. Go back to how it was before, when I could numb everything with pills and wine, and nobody knew I was drowning." Marcus stared at his hands. "I want to drink. Every single day I want to drink. It would be so much easier than feeling everything all the time." Simone's voice came out small. "I want to quit school. Quit trying. Quit fighting. It's too hard." They sat in silence, this family that had chosen truth and transparency and was now paying the price for that choice. Delphine had been in the kitchen making tea. She brought it in, set cups in front of each family member, and sat down. "You all want to quit," she said. "That's normal. Change is hard. Being authentic is harder. But quitting sends you right back to where you were." "I need to show you something," Delphine said. She went to her room in the staff quarters and returned with a leather journal. Thick, worn, filled with pages and pages of handwriting. "What's that?" Vincent asked. "Letters. To my daughter Teresa. I've been writing them for 23 years. Every week, sometimes every day. Telling her what I see in this house. What I learned from watching you all. What I want her to understand about life." She opened the journal, read from a page dated 3 years ago. "Teresa, today I watched Simone win an award at school. Nobody from her family attended. She stood on that stage looking for her parents in the audience, and they weren't there. I wanted to go up and hug her, but I'm just the help. Still, I learned something important. Success means nothing if you have nobody to celebrate it with. Real wealth isn't money. It's people who show up." Cordelia wiped tears from her eyes. "You've been writing about us. I've been writing about life. You all just happen to be the family I've been watching learn these lessons the hard way." Delphine flipped through pages, read excerpts. Watched Vincent close a billion-dollar deal today. He was on the phone for 6 hours straight. Marcus came home from school wanting to show his dad a paper he'd written. Vincent waved him away. Tonight I'm teaching Teresa. Time is the only thing you can't buy back. Vincent is learning this the expensive way. She turned more pages. Cordelia took 12 pills today. I counted. She thinks nobody notices. She's disappearing right in front of her family and they're all too busy disappearing themselves to see it. Note to Teresa, hiding your pain doesn't make it go away. It just makes it grow in the dark. More pages. Simone cut herself again today. I cleaned the blood from the bathroom sink. She's carving her pain into her skin because nobody's listening to her words. Teaching moment. People will tell you they're hurting in whatever way they can. Listen to the quiet ones. They're often screaming inside. Vincent's voice broke. You saw everything. You documented everything. Why didn't you say something sooner? Because you wouldn't have listened. Not 3 years ago, not 5 years ago, not until your daughter almost died and your world fell apart. Some people have to hit rock bottom before they're ready to hear the truth. Delphine closed the journal. I stayed in this house for 23 years, not just to clean and cook. I stayed because I needed to understand. My daughter is a social worker now, works with families in crisis. I wanted to give her tools to help people. Lessons learned from watching one of the wealthiest families in Connecticut destroy themselves with privilege and avoidance. We were your case study, Marcus said, not accusatory, just realizing. You were my teachers. Every mistake you made taught me something valuable. Every moment of pain showed me what not to do. And now, watching you all fight to change, watching you choose truth over comfort, you're teaching me something else. That it's never too late. That people can change if they're willing to be uncomfortable enough. Simone looked at Delphine. Can I read the letters? The ones about me? If you want, but they're not easy to read. The doorbell rang. Delphine stood up. That's Teresa. I asked her to come. Thought you all might benefit from talking to someone who helps families professionally. Someone who isn't Dr. Cross, isn't your therapist, isn't invested in your outcome beyond wanting to help. She opened the door. Teresa Washington was 32, her mother's eyes and her father's height, professional but warm. She carried a messenger bag and wore scrubs, had come straight from work at the Department of Children and Families. Teresa, meet the Whitmores. Whitmores, my daughter. Teresa looked around the room, at Vincent with his tired eyes, Cordelia newly sober and shaky, Marcus fighting daily urges to drink, Simone drowning in social judgment. Mom told me about you all, not the newspaper version, the real version. She said you're at a breaking point, that you want to quit. Is that true? They nodded. Okay, let's talk about why quitting would be a mistake, and why character is built in moments exactly like this one. Teresa sat down, pulled out a notepad. Social worker mode, but compassionate. I work with families in crisis every day. Families who've hit rock bottom, families who want to quit, families who do quit and end up worse than before. You know what separates the ones who make it from the ones who don't? What? Simone asked. The ones who make it stay uncomfortable. They don't run back to old patterns when things get hard. They sit in the pain. They let people judge them. They face consequences. They build character through adversity. She looked at Vincent. You lost your CEO position. That's painful. But it's also teaching you that your worth isn't tied to a title. That's a lesson most men never learn. She turned to Cordelia. Your community is judging you. That's isolating. But it's teaching you who your real friends are. Who has depth beyond social performance. That's valuable knowledge. To Marcus, your old friends mock your sobriety. That shows you they were never really friends. They were drinking buddies. Now you're learning what real friendship looks like. The people who support your growth instead of your dysfunction. And Simone, Teresa's voice softened. School is brutal right now. Kids are cruel. But you're learning resilience. You're learning that other people's opinions of you don't define your worth. That's a lesson that will serve you your entire life. Simone shook her head. It doesn't feel like a lesson. It feels like torture. Most valuable lessons do. Character isn't built in comfort. It's built in moments like this. When you want to quit, but you keep going anyway. When you want to hide, but you show up. When you want to go back to old patterns, but you choose different. Teresa pulled out her mother's journal. Mom has been documenting your journey, teaching me what real wealth looks like through your mistakes and your growth. You know what I've learned? That privilege can be a burden if you don't know how to use it. That money can't buy the things that actually matter. That family is built through showing up, not through DNA or shared addresses. She looked at Delphine. My mom has been your greatest teacher. She just taught quietly, by example, by presence. Vincent looked at Delphine with fresh eyes. You've been teaching us all along. We just weren't paying attention. I wasn't teaching, I was just living my values while you all figured out yours. No, Cordelia said. You were teaching. Every time you showed up for our kids when we didn't. Every time you cleaned up our messes without judgment. Every time you stayed present when we checked out. You were showing us what real commitment looks like. Marcus nodded. You're the reason we're all still here. If you'd quit 3 months ago when you threatened to, we'd have fallen apart. Again. Simone walked over to Delphine, hugged her tight. You're more family than family. You know that, right? Delphine held her. This girl she'd watched grow up. This girl she'd saved. And you're the daughter I got to help raise. That's been my privilege. Teresa watched the exchange, made notes. This is what I tell families all the time. Sometimes the person who saves you isn't blood. Sometimes it's the person who chooses to show up. So, Teresa said, closing her notepad. You all want to quit, that's understandable. But let me ask you this. If you quit now, what changes? Vincent, you still lost your position, whether you retreat or keep fighting. Cordelia, people will still judge whether you hide or face them. Marcus, sobriety is still hard whether you isolate or stay connected. Simone, your story is still public whether you quit school or stay. She let that sink in. The difference is what you build from here. You can retreat and learn nothing, or you can stay in the fight and become people you're proud of. People who faced adversity and didn't break. People who chose character over comfort. Vincent stood up. You're right. Quitting doesn't solve anything. It just means we suffered for nothing. Cordelia nodded. I've spent years running from discomfort. Look where that got me. Maybe it's time to face it instead. Marcus looked at his phone. Text from his sponsor asking if he was okay. I have support. I don't have to do this alone. I can stay sober. Simone took a deep breath. I'll go back to school Monday. I'll face them. Teresa smiled. Character is built in adversity, not comfort. You're all learning that the hard way, but you're learning it. That matters. Delphine put her arm around her daughter. I'm proud of you for becoming someone who helps families like this one. I learned from the best. You've been helping families for 23 years, just in a different way. The Whitmores sat together, exhausted but no longer defeated. They still faced lawsuits and judgment and daily battles with addiction and mental health, but they faced them together as a family that had been broken and was slowly, painfully rebuilding itself. Thank you, Vincent said to Delphine, for everything, for staying, for teaching us, for saving us when we couldn't save ourselves. Delphine smiled. That's what family does, real family, the kind that's built through choice and commitment, not just shared blood. And for the first time in months, the Whitmores believed they might actually make it through this, not unscathed, not unchanged, but stronger for having survived the fire. 6 months after the Wall Street Journal interview, Vincent Whitmore stood in front of 50 CEOs at a leadership conference in Boston. Not as a pharmaceutical executive, not as a billionaire success story, as a cautionary tale. I lost my family while building an empire, he began. I missed birthdays, anniversaries, my daughters cry for help. I told myself I was providing for them. Really, I was hiding from them. Work was easier than fatherhood. The room was silent. These were his peers, Type A executives who worked 80-hour weeks, who measured worth in quarterly earnings, who sacrificed everything for success. My daughter tried to kill herself 3 times before I noticed she was struggling. That's not success. That's failure dressed in expensive suits. He'd started the Whitmore Foundation for Executive Mental Health 2 months ago. Funded with $50 million from his remaining wealth, it provided counseling for executives and their families. Work-life balance coaching, resources for children of workaholic parents, purpose beyond profit. For the first time in his career, Vincent felt like he was doing something that mattered. Cordelia stood at a podium in a church basement in Stamford, Connecticut. Folding chairs, fluorescent lights, coffee that tasted like regret. Nothing like the country club ballrooms where she used to speak at charity galas. "My name is Cordelia, and I'm an addict." "Hi, Cordelia," the room responded in unison. 6 months sober today." Applause filled the small room. "I spent 3 years hiding my addiction behind designer clothes and charity work. Took my daughter's anxiety medication because mine wasn't enough. Drank wine at breakfast and called it self-care. Almost destroyed my family because I was too proud to admit I needed help." She'd started speaking at recovery centers 3 months ago. Her sponsor suggested it, service work as part of the 12 steps. Cordelia had resisted at first, going into treatment facilities, sharing her story with strangers, admitting her failures publicly. But then she met a woman in rehab who said, "I never thought rich people had these problems. Thought it was just us regular folks. Your story made me realize addiction doesn't discriminate." That's when Cordelia understood her privilege could actually serve a purpose. She'd spoken at 8 facilities in 3 months, sometimes to groups of 10, sometimes 50. People in early recovery, people struggling, people who thought they were alone in their addiction. "The thing about being wealthy and addicted," Cordelia continued, "is everyone assumes you have no right to complain. You have money, you have comfort. What could you possibly be struggling with? But addiction doesn't care about your bank account. Depression doesn't check your net worth. Pain is pain, regardless of your zip code." After the meeting, a young woman approached, maybe 25, thin and shaky like Cordelia had been in early recovery. "Thank you for sharing. I'm from Greenwich too. Old Greenwich. I've seen you around town. Never thought someone like you would be like us." "We're all just people fighting the same disease," Cordelia said. "Money just means I had better lawyers and nicer rehab facilities. Doesn't mean the struggle is easier." The woman hugged her. "I needed to hear that today." Cordelia drove home feeling useful in a way charity galas had never provided. Marcus sat across from his first grant recipient, a 17-year-old kid named Devin from Bridgeport. Smart, angry, drowning in poverty and trauma. Exactly the kind of kid the system usually failed. "So this program," Devin said skeptically, "you're really going to pay for therapy and mentorship and help me apply to colleges for free?" "Not for free. In exchange, you commit to showing up. Therapy appointments, mentorship sessions, community service. You put in the work, we provide the resources." Marcus had launched Second Chance Youth 6 weeks ago, funded entirely by his trust fund, $3 million to start, with plans to raise more. The program connected at-risk teenagers with therapists, mentors, and educational resources. Everything Marcus wished had existed when he was drowning. "Why do you care?" Devin asked. "You're a Whitmore. You got everything. Why do you care about kids like me?" "Because I almost died from having everything. Money doesn't fix pain. Sometimes it just hides it better. My sister tried to kill herself 3 times. I'm an alcoholic. We had every advantage and almost lost everything that mattered. If I can help kids avoid that, maybe my mess means something." Carmen, his supervisor at the Greenwich Youth Center, had helped him develop the program. She'd been working with at-risk youth for 20 years, knew what worked and what didn't. "Most programs give money," she'd explained. "Yours gives relationship. That's what these kids need. Adults who show up consistently, who don't disappear when things get hard." Second Chance. Youth had 12 kids enrolled now. Devin was the newest. Each one was paired with a mentor, professionals who volunteered their time. Marcus mentored 3 kids himself, meeting weekly, showing up to their school events, being present in ways his own father hadn't been. "I'm 8 months sober," he told Devin. "I go to meetings 3 times a week. I work here and at my nonprofit. I'm in therapy. I'm in community college studying social work. My life looks nothing like it did a year ago." "Is it better?" Marcus thought about that. "It's harder, but it matters. That's better in ways I didn't know existed." Simone sat in a federal courtroom in Hartford, hands shaking, reading from a prepared statement. "My name is Simone Whitmore. When I was 16, I found online forums for people who wanted to die. I thought I was finding community. Instead, I found a predator who encouraged me to hurt myself, who told me the world would be better without me, who manipulated my pain for his entertainment. The defendant, 37-year-old Kenneth Morrison from Portland, Oregon, sat at the defense table. He'd been arrested 4 months ago. The FBI had traced his IP address, found evidence of grooming dozens of teenagers online, encouraging self-harm, collecting photos of their injuries, creating a catalog of suffering. Simone forced herself to look at him. "You told me you loved me, that you understood me, that if I really loved you back, I'd prove it by cutting deeper, taking more pills. You weaponized my loneliness. You took a depressed girl and pushed her toward death. For what? For power? For entertainment? For some sick fantasy?" Morrison looked away, couldn't hold her gaze. "I almost died because of you, but I'm here, I survived, and I'm making sure you can't hurt anyone else." The prosecutor had explained that Simone's testimony wasn't required. They had enough evidence from seized computers and other victims, but Simone insisted on testifying. "I need to face him," she told Dr. Tanaka. "I need him to see that I'm not just a username, I'm a person he tried to destroy." The trial lasted 3 days. Morrison was convicted on 14 counts: child exploitation, cyberstalking, encouraging suicide. He'd face 20 years minimum. After the verdict, the prosecutor approached Simone. "Your testimony was powerful. You helped shut down the entire forum network. We identified and contacted over 40 potential victims. Got them help. You saved lives." Simone felt something she hadn't felt in over a year. Pride. Real pride. Not the hollow achievement-based kind. Pride in her courage, her survival, her choice to turn her worst experience into protection for others. On the courthouse steps, reporters shouted questions. Simone ignored them, walked to where her family waited: Vincent, Cordelia, Marcus, and Delphine. "I did it," she said simply. Vincent pulled her into a hug. "I'm so proud of you." The for sale sign went up on a Tuesday morning. 12 acres in Greenwich, 42-room mansion, price $38 million. The house where the Whitmores had built their image and destroyed their family. Now someone else's problem. "You're sure about this?" Cordelia asked Vincent as they stood in the circular driveway, watching the real estate agent hammer in the sign. "This house holds too many ghosts. Simone can't walk past the kitchen without remembering overdosing there. You can't go upstairs without thinking about all the pills you took in that bathroom. Marcus can't look at his old room without remembering being drunk more often than sober. We need a fresh start. Where will we go? Smaller house, same town, same school district for Simone's senior year, but something that feels like a home instead of a museum." Marcus came out, watched the sign go up. "Old Greenwich friends are going to have a field day with this. The Whitmores downsizing, losing their mansion. They'll say we're broke." "Let them," Cordelia said. "We're rich in ways they'll never understand." They found the new house 2 weeks later. 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 2 acres. Nothing like the estate, no marble floors, no crystal chandeliers, no rooms they'd never use. Just a comfortable, normal house in Old Greenwich. Price, $2.4 million. Practically modest by Greenwich standards. The property had a guest house in the back, small but perfect. 1 bedroom, bathroom, kitchenette, sitting area. "Delphine, what do you think of the guest house?" Vincent asked during the walkthrough. Delphine had been quiet, taking in the new space. "It's lovely. Are you thinking about renting it out?" "No, I'm thinking it should be yours, if you want it, not as staff quarters. As your home, your family. You live with family, not behind them." Delphine stood very still. 23 years she'd lived in staff quarters. 23 years of being separate, other, help. "You're serious?" "Completely. The house isn't big enough for staff quarters, and you're not staff anymore. I don't even know what to call you. Guardian, advisor, the person who saved us?" "Family," Cordelia said quietly. "She's family." "I don't know how to be family instead of staff," Delphine admitted. "I've been the help for so long. I don't know how to sit at the table instead of serve at it." "You already sit at the table," Simone said. "You've been sitting with us through therapy, through family meetings, through everything. You're just making it official. What about my salary, my employment status? Vincent smiled. You're retired, from cleaning and cooking anyway. Your retirement is the guest house, no rent. You're free to do whatever you want. Spend time with Teresa, travel, sit and read. But if you want to stay involved with the family, help coordinate our lives, keep teaching us how to be better people, we'd be grateful. As consultants, not staff. Consultant for what? For being a functional family. We're still terrible at it. We need guidance. You're the only one who seems to know what she's doing. Delphine laughed, actually laughed. I'm figuring it out same as you. But yes, I'll take the guest house. I'll stay. As family. Marcus grinned. Grandma Delphine has a nice ring to it. Moving day was chaos. Professional movers handled the new house. The estate required a specialty company. Too many expensive items. Too much crystal and art and furniture worth more than cars. Simone packed her room carefully. Some things she kept. Photos, books, her journal. Other things she left behind. Clothes that reminded her of who she'd been. Decorations from when she'd been trying to be perfect. The girl who tried to die in that mansion wasn't moving to the new house. Marcus brought almost nothing. Fresh start, he said, tossing most of his stuff. New life, new things. Cordelia struggled most. The estate had been her kingdom. Leaving it felt like admitting defeat. It's not defeat, Delphine said, helping her pack. It's evolution. That house was where you performed being Mrs. Whitmore. The new house is where you get to be Cordelia, the real one. What if I don't know who that is? Then you figure it out. That's what the next chapter's for. Their last night in the estate, the family gathered in the living room one final time. The room where they'd had family therapy, where they'd confessed their failures, where they'd decided to tell the truth publicly. Should we say something? Marcus asked. Mark the occasion? Like what? Simone sat on the floor. All the furniture was already packed. I don't know. Goodbye to the old us? Thanks for the lessons learned the hard way? Vincent looked around the empty room. This house represented everything I thought success looked like. Money, space, impressive architecture, rooms to show off wealth. But it was empty. We were empty. Good riddance, Cordelia said with surprising venom. This place was a beautiful prison. I'm glad we're leaving. Simone pulled out her journal. I wrote something, for closure. She read, This house taught us what we don't want. The new house will teach us what we do. Here's to smaller spaces with bigger hearts, to less square footage with more actual living, to being broke in ways that don't matter and rich in ways that do. The new house felt strange at first. Too small, too normal. The kitchen was a fraction of the size. There was one living room, not 5 sitting rooms. Simone and Marcus had to share a bathroom, their first experience with sibling bathroom wars, but it also felt alive in ways the estate never had. Cordelia cooked dinner. Actually cooked, not just reheated what Delphine made. Spaghetti, slightly burned garlic bread, salad from a bag. It was imperfect and wonderful. They ate at the kitchen table together, all of them, every night. No phones allowed during dinner. Vincent's rule, strictly enforced. Marcus studied at that table after dinner. Community college textbooks spread across the surface. Simone did homework there too. Sometimes they'd work in comfortable silence. Sometimes they'd complain about assignments and help each other. Vincent was home by 6 every day, cut his work schedule to 35 hours a week, started consulting part-time, running his foundation, being available, and Delphine lived in the guest house. Close enough to be involved, separate enough to have her own life. She'd join them for dinner most nights. Other nights, she'd visit Teresa or go to book club. 3 months into the new house, Cordelia hosted her first gathering. Not a gala, not a charity event, just a regular dinner party with her 12-step group. 8 women crowded around the kitchen table. Diverse group, housewives and teachers and nurses and one hedge fund manager. United by addiction, by recovery, by the hard work of staying sober. They laughed, shared stories, cried together when one woman talked about relapsing and finding her way back. Celebrated when another hit her 1-year milestone. No staff serving appetizers, no crystal, no performing. After they left, Cordelia stood in her messy kitchen, dishes piled in the sink, wine glasses filled with sparkling water, scattered on counters, and felt wealthy for the first time in years. "This is what I was missing," she told Vincent. "Real connection, real friendship, people who know the worst parts of me and show up anyway." Vincent pulled her close. "Remember when we thought wealth was the size of our house? The numbers in our bank account? We were so stupid. We were. But we learned. Expensive lesson, but we learned." Simone overheard them, came into the kitchen still in her pajamas. Saturday morning, no school, no rush. "I was thinking about college applications," she said. "All my essays used to be about achievement. Awards, honors, GPA, proving I was worth something. And now," Vincent asked, "now I'm writing about survival, about being the girl who wanted to die and chose to live instead, about learning that my worth isn't measured in accomplishments. It's measured in relationships, in showing up, in being brave enough to be broken and heal anyway." Cordelia hugged her daughter. "Those essays will get you into anywhere you want to go. I don't want to go far, maybe University of Connecticut, maybe community college first. I just want to be close to home, close to you all. For the first time, home feels like somewhere I want to be." Vincent felt his eyes water. His daughter wanted to stay near them, not escape them. That was wealth no amount of money could buy. Sunday dinner became tradition. The whole family plus Delphine. Sometimes Teresa would join, sometimes Marcus's sponsor or Cordelia's recovery friends or kids from Simone's school who needed a safe place. The table would be crowded, loud, full of mismatched chairs and conversation that jumped between serious and silly. Nothing like the silent, formal dinners at the estate. This was what family looked like when it actually functioned. One Sunday, Marcus raised his glass of water. "Toast to surviving the worst year of our lives and somehow coming out better. To second chances," Cordelia added. "To truth over image," Vincent said. "To being alive," Simone said quietly. "When I almost wasn't. To choosing different," Delphine finished. "Every single day." They clinked glasses. Water, sparkling cider. Nothing that could threaten anyone's sobriety. The new Whitmore legacy wasn't built on pharmaceutical empires or society connections or Greenwich mansions. It was built on therapy appointments kept and sponsor calls answered, and dinners eaten together and hard conversations had when it would be easier to stay silent. True wealth measured in relationships, in presence, in people who showed up. Finally, they understood what that meant. March 12th, 1 year exactly since Delphine found Simone unconscious in the kitchen. The Whitmore family, plus Delphine and Teresa, sat in Dr. Cross's office for their final therapy session. Not because they were fixed. Families don't get fixed like broken appliances, but because they'd done the work, faced the pain, built new patterns, earned their graduation. Dr. Cross sat in her usual chair, looking at the group with something that might have been pride. A year ago, this family was hours away from permanent tragedy. Simone was in the hospital after her third suicide attempt. Vincent was unreachable in Singapore. Cordelia was more concerned about reputation than her daughter's life. Marcus was too drunk to comprehend the severity. And Delphine, she looked at Delphine. "You slapped Cordelia across the face in a hospital corridor." "I did," Delphine said without apology. "That slap changed everything. It was the moment this family could no longer avoid the truth. So let's talk about where you are now. 1 year later. Each of you, what's different?" Vincent spoke first. "Everything's different. I work 35 hours a week instead of 80. I'm home for dinner every night. I know my kids, actually know them. Know that Simone wants to study environmental policy. Know that Marcus hates mushrooms and loves terrible action movies. Know that Cordelia takes her coffee with oat milk now instead of regular milk because dairy bothers her stomach." He paused, emotion catching in his throat. "I know these things because I'm present. For the first time in 25 years, I'm actually here. I lost my company, lost my CEO title, lost hundreds of millions, and I'd make the same choice again because I got my family back." "What about your foundation?" Dr. Cross asked. "It's thriving. We've provided counseling to 300 executives and their families, started work-life balance programs at 15 companies. I speak at conferences about choosing family over career. People think I'm crazy. Some people think I'm brilliant. I don't care either way. I just know I'm finally doing something that matters. Cordelia went next. 1 year sober, went to treatment, did the 90 days, kept going to meetings every single week since. I sponsor 2 women now. Help them through early recovery the way my sponsor helped me. She twisted her hands together, a nervous habit that hadn't fully disappeared. I speak at recovery centers twice a month. Tell my story. The pills, the wine, the stealing Simone's medication, all of it. People need to hear that addiction doesn't discriminate, that wealthy women in Greenwich get addicted same as anyone else. How's your relationship with your Greenwich community? Dr. Cross asked. Some friendships survived, most didn't. The ones that did are real friendships. People who saw me at my worst and didn't run. The ones that didn't were never real anyway. I have coffee with other women in recovery. We talk about real things, not charity galas and who's remodeling their kitchen. Real things, pain and healing and staying sober one day at a time. She looked at Vincent. And I have my marriage back. The real version, not the performance version. Marcus smiled, genuine smile, not the cocky grin he used to hide behind. 1 year sober, went to rehab, did the work, go to meetings 4 times a week, still hard every day, still want to drink sometimes. But I don't. I call my sponsor. I go to a meeting. I remember that being sober is better than being numb. Tell them about Second Chance Youth, Delphine prompted. We have 42 kids enrolled now. Kids from Bridgeport, Stamford, New Haven, kids who need support and mentorship. I work with them 3 days a week, help them apply to colleges, find therapy, connect with positive adults who actually show up. It's the most meaningful thing I've ever done. He pulled out his phone, showed a photo. Young woman, maybe 25, warm smile, kind eyes. This is Hannah. We met at the youth center. She's a therapist who volunteers. We've been dating 6 months. She knows everything. The drinking, the rehab, the mess I was. She loves me anyway. Or maybe because of it, we're engaged, getting married next summer. Dr. Cross smiled. Congratulations. What makes this relationship different from your previous ones? It's built on truth instead of performance. Hannah sees the real me. Broken parts, struggling parts, work in progress parts. And she doesn't need me to be perfect. She just needs me to be honest and keep showing up. And you're in school? Community college, yeah. Social work degree. Figure if I'm going to keep helping kids, I should actually know what I'm doing professionally. Plus it's humbling. I'm 31 in classes with 18-year-olds. Does wonders for keeping ego in check? Marcus looked at his family. A year ago, I was a drunk trust fund kid wasting his life. Now I'm a sober man building something meaningful. All because this family finally told the truth. All because Delphine slapped some sense into us. Literally, Simone added with a small smile. Literally, Marcus agreed. Sometimes love looks like a slap across the face. Simone spoke last, her voice stronger than it had been a year ago. I'm alive. That's the biggest difference. A year ago, I wanted to die, tried to die, couldn't imagine a future worth living. Now I'm in community college studying environmental science. I advocate for mental health awareness. I speak at schools about suicide prevention and online predators. Tell them about your testimony, Teresa encouraged. I testified against Kenneth Morrison. He got 20 years. The forums he ran got shut down. FBI identified 43 kids he'd been manipulating. We helped save lives by shutting down that community. That matters. She pulled her sleeves up. First time in years she'd voluntarily shown her arms. The scars were still there, probably always would be, but they were healed now, faded. I'm not ashamed anymore. These scars are part of my story. They're proof I survived, proof that pain doesn't last forever if you're willing to work through it. I show them when I speak at schools, show kids that you can be broken and heal, that scars are just evidence of battles you won. What are your plans after community college? Dr. Cross asked. Transfer to University of Connecticut, get my bachelor's in environmental policy, maybe work for the EPA or a climate nonprofit. Use my privilege, Because I still have privilege, still have money and connections to actually help, not perform helping like my family used to. Actually help, she looked at Delphine. You taught me that having advantages means you have responsibility, that wealth means nothing if you're not using it to make things better. Delphine wiped tears from her eyes. You learned that all on your own, baby. I just showed you what it looked like in practice. Are you still in therapy? Dr. Cross asked Simone. Twice a week. Will be for a while. Depression doesn't disappear, but it's manageable now. I have tools, support system, medication that actually works, not Anxolov, something safer. Some days are hard. Some days I still think about those forums, but I call Dr. Tanaka. I reach out. I don't suffer alone anymore. Vincent and Cordelia, you mentioned wanting to share something? Dr. Cross looked at the couple who'd spent years as strangers under one roof. Vincent reached for Cordelia's hand. We're renewing our vows. 2 weeks from today, small ceremony, just family and close friends. Not the performance we had 25 years ago. 500 guests, orchestra, everything designed to impress. This time it's about actually meaning what we say. Cordelia continued. The first wedding was about status, about two families joining empires, about looking perfect for society. We said vows, but we didn't understand what they meant. Love, honor, cherish. They were just words. Pretty words we said to make the ceremony official. This time we know what we're promising, Vincent said. To be present, to be honest, to choose each other over work, over comfort, over avoidance, to build a real marriage instead of a performance. I'm writing my own vows, Cordelia added, about choosing him sober, about rebuilding trust, about learning what real partnership looks like. It's not traditional, but it's honest. Honesty is better than traditional, Dr. Cross said. Are you inviting the Greenwich community? Some of them, the ones who stood by us. But it's not about impressing anyone. It's about celebrating what we've rebuilt. Vincent looked at his wife with genuine affection, not the polite distance they'd maintained for years. Cordelia saved my life by going to treatment, by getting sober, by doing the hard work. She came back different, real. I fell in love with the real version in ways I never loved the performance version. Cordelia's eyes filled with tears. And Vincent saved mine by choosing us over his company, by being vulnerable in that interview, by admitting he failed. That was the moment I knew he was serious. Not when he said he'd change, when he actually sacrificed something valuable to prove it. Dr. Cross leaned back in her chair. You two are redefining what a Whitmore marriage looks like, not based on status or appearances, based on actual love and commitment. That's the goal, Vincent said simply. Be what we should have been from the beginning. Dr. Cross turned to Delphine. You've been quiet. How do you feel about where this family is a year later? Delphine set down her teacup. Dr. Cross always provided real cups, not paper. I'm proud, genuinely proud. They did the work, faced the pain, chose different. Not many families have that kind of courage. And what about you? Where are you in this journey? Delphine took a breath. I need to tell you all something. I'm retiring, for real this time. Simone's face fell. You're leaving? No, baby, not leaving. Retiring from coordinating your lives. You don't need that anymore. You've learned how to function as a family. My work here is done. But what will you do? Marcus asked. I've been invited to speak at the National Domestic Workers Conference in Chicago. 3,000 attendees, domestic workers from across the country. They want me to give a keynote speech about my experience with the Whitmore family. Vincent looked surprised. They want you to talk about us? They want me to talk about when staying silent becomes cruelty, when witnessing dysfunction and saying nothing makes you complicit, when love requires uncomfortable truth. The speech is titled, The Slap That Shattered Silence, when staying silent is the greatest cruelty. Cordelia laughed through tears. You're famous for slapping me. I'm famous for refusing to watch a family destroy itself. The slap was just the moment everyone remembers. But the real work was the 23 years before that. Watching, documenting, waiting for the moment when truth would be heard instead of dismissed. Teresa spoke up. Mom's been writing this speech for 6 months. I've heard drafts. It's powerful. About domestic workers who see everything. Addiction, abuse, neglect, dysfunction, and struggle with whether to speak up or stay silent. About the cost of silence, the cost of truth. How to know when intervention is necessary. It's about using your voice even when you're supposed to be invisible, Delphine added. About recognizing that staying in your place sometimes means watching people die. I'm done staying in my place. Vincent's voice was thick with emotion. You're going to change how domestic workers see their role, their power, their responsibility. That's the goal. Can we come? Simone asked. To Chicago? To hear you speak? All of you want to come? Of course, Marcus said. You saved us. We want to see you tell the world how you did it. Cordelia nodded. I want other families to learn what we learned. If your speech helps even one family avoid what we went through, it's worth it. We're your case study, Vincent said. You're proof that intervention works, that speaking truth, even violently, even inappropriately by polite standards, can save lives. Use our story. We're not ashamed anymore. Dr. Cross smiled. This family started with shame, secret shame about dysfunction and addiction and suicide attempts. Now you're letting Delphine use your story publicly to help others. That's transformation. That's healing. We owe her everything, Simone said simply. She slapped my mother awake. Literally and figuratively, she forced us to face what we'd been avoiding. She saved my life by refusing to stay silent. Delphine wiped tears from her eyes. You saved yourselves. I just gave you the push. Dr. Cross stood up, signaled that the session was ending. Their last session after a year of weekly family therapy. This is where we say goodbye. Not because you're perfect, not because you'll never struggle again, but because you've learned how to handle struggle. You have tools, you have each other. You have truth as your foundation instead of performance. She looked at each family member. Vincent, you learned that success at work means nothing without success at home. Cordelia, you learned that numbing pain doesn't make it go away. Marcus, you learned that sobriety is hard but worthwhile. Simone, you learned that your life has value beyond achievement. And Delphine, she paused, you learned that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is disrupt everything. One moment of courageous truth changed everything, Dr. Cross continued. One slap, one confrontation, one decision to stop being silent. From that moment, everything shifted. This family was saved by someone brave enough to be uncomfortable, brave enough to risk everything to tell the truth. Thank you, Vincent said to Delphine, for everything, for saving us. That evening, the Whitmore family plus Delphine and Teresa gathered for dinner at the new house. Not a celebration, not a ceremony, just dinner. Regular Sunday dinner that had become their tradition. But tonight felt different. Final therapy session completed. Vow renewal in 2 weeks. Delphine's speech in Chicago next month. Simone's testimony behind her. Marcus's engagement. Cordelia's year of sobriety. Vincent's foundation thriving. They'd survived. Not just survived, transformed. Dinner was pasta. Cordelia's cooking had improved dramatically in a year. Garlic bread that wasn't burned. Salad with vegetables from the farmer's market. Nothing fancy, nothing designed to impress. They sat at the kitchen table. 7 people crowded around a table meant for 6, passing dishes, talking over each other, laughing at Marcus's terrible jokes. Delphine sat at the head of the table, not in the kitchen making the food, not in the background observing, at the head of the table. Matriarch, the person who'd held this family together when they couldn't hold themselves. Toast, Vincent said, raising his water glass. To Delphine, the woman who saved us all. I didn't save you, Delphine said. I just refused to enable your destruction. There's a difference. You slapped sense into us, Cordelia said, literally. That slap changed my life. That slap was 23 years coming. I stayed silent for too long, watched too much, enabled too much by not speaking up. The slap wasn't the beginning of change. It was me finally breaking after years of witnessing pain I couldn't fix. But you did fix it, Simone said, by refusing to stay silent, by choosing us over your job security, by risking everything to tell the truth. Delphine looked around the table. This family that had been so broken a year ago, so close to permanent tragedy. Now they were here, healed, not completely. Healing was a process, but substantially better. Present, engaged, alive. I learned something too, Delphine said. From all of you, I learned that it's never too late. Never too late to tell the truth. Never too late to change. Never too late to become who you should have been all along. Marcus raised his glass. To family, not the kind you're born into. The kind you build through choice and commitment and showing up even when it's hard. To family, they echoed. Simone looked at Delphine. You're not the help. You know that, right? You've never been the help. You've been family the entire time. We just took 23 years to recognize it. Family isn't defined by blood or money, Vincent said. It's defined by love, by presence, by people who refuse to let you destroy yourself. Delphine was more family than I was for most of my kids' lives. She showed up. I didn't. Simple as that. Cordelia reached for Delphine's hand. You're the grandmother my children never had. The friend I needed when I was drowning. The voice of truth when everyone else was lying. You're everything. Delphine felt tears streaming down her face. You all are my family, my daughter Teresa, and my found family here. This is what wealth looks like. Not mansions, not bank accounts. This. People who love you, people who show up, people who choose you. They sat in comfortable silence, passing dishes, eating together, being together. Later, after dinner was cleared and everyone was settled in the living room, Simone pulled out her journal. Not the old journal. That one was evidence in Morrison's trial, would be sealed away forever. This was a new journal, clean pages, fresh start. I wrote something for today, 1-year anniversary. She read, 1 year ago, I tried to die in my family's kitchen. I took my mother's pills because I couldn't imagine a future worth living. I thought I was too broken to heal. I thought nobody saw me. I thought death was easier than the pain of living invisible. I was wrong. Delphine saw me. She always saw me. And when I tried to die, she saved me. Then she saved my whole family by refusing to let us stay broken. One slap changed everything. One moment of truth shattered decades of silence. One woman's courage gave 5 broken people permission to heal. I'm alive because Delphine was brave, because she loved us enough to make us uncomfortable, because she understood that sometimes the cruelest thing you can do is stay silent. Thank you, Delphine, for everything, for slapping us awake, for saving us all. Delphine wiped tears from her face. You saved yourselves, baby. I just created the conditions for saving to be possible. I disrupted the dysfunction, but you did the work. Every therapy session, every 12-step meeting, every moment you chose truth over comfort. That was you, all of you. She stood up, walked to the center of the room where she could see everyone. Here's what I want you to remember. What I'll say in my speech in Chicago. What I hope other families learn from your story. One moment of courageous truth can change everything. One conversation, one confrontation, one decision to stop enabling dysfunction and start demanding change. But that moment only works if people are ready to hear it, if they're desperate enough, broken enough, close enough to rock bottom that truth penetrates instead of bounces off. I slapped your mother in a hospital corridor, but it only mattered because you'd all finally reached the point where you couldn't avoid the truth anymore. Simone almost died. That was your rock bottom. That was the moment change became possible. So the lesson isn't slap people who need to change. The lesson is speak truth even when it's uncomfortable, even when you might lose everything, even when silence is easier. Teresa, who'd been watching quietly, spoke up. My mom taught me that wealth isn't measured in dollars. She taught me by documenting your family, documenting the emptiness of having everything material and nothing emotional. She taught me what matters. What matters, Simone asked. Showing up, being present, choosing people over profit, using privilege to help instead of just having privilege, building relationships instead of resumes. Those are the lessons Mom learned from watching you. Those are the lessons she passed to me. Those are the lessons you're now passing forward. Vincent with his foundation, Cordelia with her recovery speaking, Marcus with his youth program, Simone with her advocacy. She looked at the family gathered in the modest living room. You lost your mansion, lost your reputation, lost your privacy, but you gained each other. That's the best trade anyone could make. Vincent nodded. Best trade we ever made. We lost everything that didn't matter and kept everything that did. Delphine smiled. That's what real wealth looks like. The evening ended the way their Sundays always ended now. Everyone helping clean up. No staff, no helpers, just family working together. Vincent washed dishes while Cordelia dried. Marcus took out trash. Simone wiped down counters. Teresa and Delphine put away leftovers. Simple tasks. Ordinary moments. The kind of family cooperation that wealthy households often outsource, but this family had learned to treasure. Through the kitchen window, Delphine could see the guest house where she lived now. Her own space, her own home. Not staff quarters, not a room behind the kitchen. A home, on property with the family she'd chosen and who'd chosen her back. 1 year ago, she'd found Simone dying in this family's kitchen, had slapped Cordelia awake in a hospital corridor, had given them all an ultimatum, change or I walk. They'd changed. She'd stayed. Now here they were, not perfect, not without struggles, but present, engaged, showing up for each other daily. Delphine sat down at the kitchen table, watched this family she'd helped save, and felt something she hadn't felt in years. Complete peace. This was home. These were her people. This was family, not defined by blood or money or employment, defined by love, by choice, by commitment, by showing up. As everyone prepared to leave, Teresa heading back to her apartment, Marcus going home to Hannah, Cordelia and Vincent retiring upstairs, Simone lingered in the kitchen with Delphine. Thank you, Simone said quietly, for not giving up on us, for staying even when we gave you every reason to leave. I couldn't leave you, baby. You were just a little girl when I started here. I watched you grow up, watched you hurt, couldn't walk away when you needed someone most. You slapped my mother and saved my life. That's the weirdest, most beautiful thing anyone's ever done for me. Delphine laughed. Sometimes love looks like violence, like disruption, like making people so uncomfortable they have no choice but to change. I'm glad you slapped her. Me too. Best decision I ever made. Second best was staying after. Simone hugged her tight. I love you, Grandma Delphine. I love you too, baby. I love you too. And in that moment, everything they'd survived was worth it.